pretty high. Our heads are almost in the clouds, and they're free to change to the ground with their chains of misery. They've got a hold of me. They won't let go of me. Let go of me. They might have gravity on their side, but something's pulling us high. Got the potential to fly.
Welcome everybody to another Flat Earth Friday. We are IronRealmMedia, coming back for another wonderful episode. It is Easter weekend, celebrating the goddess Ishtar.
Seamless, Josh. Nice one.
Rob, was that
Morning,
you that I
everyone.
heard?
Good evening.
Hi, Rob.
Good morning, Rob.
How are you, sir?
Hello.
Sorry to wake you so early, but hello.
Yeah. Very, very tired. Very, very tired. So if you hear snoring, just
You're very
yell.
quiet as well, Rob.
Come on.
Oh, there goes everyone.
I will turn myself up, I think.
Oh, they wanted to get recording right away today, so that's good news.
Okay. All right. What do we want to chat about first?
Well, I think we just had the first round of kick-outs. I just got kicked out.
Get out of the way.
We've lost everyone. With all that hard work.
All that hard work done.
Wouldn't be the realm without a little hiccup, though. Welcome, everybody. How you guys doing?
Not bad. Not bad, mate. I can hear someone
Feeling
trying
grand
to start
yourself,
a hangout.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the week. I'm happy for the energy to change after this weekend and looking forward to the chat today very much. It's always a pleasure to have Justin on. So I've been excited, man. I've been actually, Walt and I were chatting last night early, just raring to go and to look at this stuff because NASA is just such a great, it's just such a great source of information and entertainment to us and to people when they realize what's really up. So I'm super jazzed.
So, what's he been doing? What's he updating us on? Where's he been and what's he been doing?
Where is he?
Well, we're not
He
going to
got
spoil
kicked
that,
out. He's
Sean.
trying to get back in.
We're not.
Yeah,
I'm not
I got kicked. You guys didn't get kicked?
I did.
Yeah.
Hi.
Me and Josh didn't. We never do.
Thanks, Google. And we need to make a soundbite for that.
We do.
All of us as a group all saying it. Thanks, Google.
Yep.
Me and Josh have got leased landlines to the CIA, so we never get.
So,
Or maybe it's because
As
we've
we-
got PCs.
Well, how's everyone been this week other than the Google issues?
I've been a little sickly.
I'm
But
sorry,
other-
brother.
That's all right. 'Tis the nature of it, I reckon.
Yeah, well, it seems to be going around for sure. Definitely. Everyone's under the weather in my area.
you
Or
missed
fighting
my,
it or trying
you-
to avoid it.
you missed my little blurb, but I've already said how I am, and yeah, half of it was just about the emotional weather lately, the energy.
Sir, this energy this week has been crazy. It's not even close to the word.
Is it because
We were talking about this
holiday?
week, James and I, that we thought the moon had a lot to do with it, which it always does, but double that down with the lovely Ishtar holiday we're in, and yeah, it was some very crazy, hectic, chaotic energy. Very stressful causing. And apparently just tearing havoc through the Google system here as we're trying to get everybody back on. Well, I was out a few nights trying to catch some decent pics, and it was just mostly overcast. I got some interesting cloud days. Nothing new that we haven't seen. We've all seen the videos of the moon and the clouds interacting.
Rob, you got
I'm
a
sure
good
some
time
of the
lapse,
stuff
didn't
Rob
you?
has is great. I've got one. I'm trying to that one I did the other night when it passed right through the cloud. Yeah, I'm trying to do another one though that's a little closer, a little better shot. I'm playing with a cell phone and a zoom lens I bought online.
No one owns
But
cameras
definitely,
anymore, do they?
no, you're right. We were talking about that before the show. Everybody's walking around with that cell phone. Of course, what I'm hearing, some of the camera people are like panicking because
Can you turn your mic just down a teeny tinge there, Walt? Sorry.
I can move it, sir. Yes, I can. I didn't know I had it in my mouth. I apologize. Is that
Nope.
better?
Yeah, that is
Sounds
much better.
alright,
Thank
man.
you.
All right, absolutely. But yeah, I like this lens I bought. I mean, it basically turns the camera into, what, 20 zoom, 20x, something like that,
Wow.
more than it had optically. So,
And
That's
it's
pretty cool.
software, right? It's hardware that is operated by software that can be hacked and gotten into and changed, and parameters can be set,
yeah.
and so
Don't update your software.
yeah.
What about you,
Well, as
Adam?
we
Been
have
up to anything?
Yeah, I was about to ask Adam about his camera experiences this week. I know he had some shots I saw that were pretty nice.
Yeah, I've had an interesting week. I was in Italy, so very different perspective, much bigger, fuller moon, and we had a kind of orangey. It was described as a pink moon, and that was really noticeable. So I've got some good shots of that, some nice close-up video footage, and then
Is it actually
also
pink?
I've sent you guys. Yeah, it's almost orangey. It wasn't like a
Yeah,
blood, but it was.
That's cool.
It was a noticeable colour change for a night.
What could possibly do that? Do we think? Because I'm pretty sure shadows don't cause anything to go red. They don't make, you don't get blood shadows or anything like this. I'm just wondering what phenomena that could actually. I don't think there's an explanation for it on either side.
No, I think isn't
Right.
it something to do with the standard explanation? Be something to do with the atmosphere filtering a particular part of the spectrum, which is why you get that coloration. But
And that could be absolutely right. I'm just wondering whether it can be tied down by
Welcome back.
angle or whatever.
Hey guys.
Hey Justin. Excellent.
There he is.
The guest has arrived.
I'm
Sorry
still
for all the
alive.
commotion.
evening.
How you going there, Justin?
Good. It's glad it's Friday. It's been a long week.
Yes, it has. We were just talking about the crazy week, the crazy energy, and how it's just made everything hectic. The moon.
Yeah, it sure has. You go into a restaurant and glasses are breaking and computers are messing up, and it's like, oh, something's in retrograde.
For sure.
Maybe that's what happened last week, Adam, with your smashing glass episode.
Yeah.
There you go. I forgot about that. Right.
Oh, there you go. It was a funny old week last week. I'm after it gone.
So what you've been up to then, Justin?
Lately I've actually been stuck, doing sort of my day job, but I did get a chance to, as you guys saw, sneak off to the National Air and Space Museum. But other than that, I've just been sort of planning for this event we've got coming up in May. We've got the March Against Monsanto global, no pun intended, protest. I should say across the plane.
There we go.
May 20th. Other than that, I think you guys saw the Sandy Hook lawyer incident where I was trying to throw me out of the courtroom for filming.
Well, before we get to the NASA stuff, definitely I did want to ask you some questions about that. I watched the video. I was just like, go, Justin. Explain to people, number one, how you were even allowed to do such a thing, and that might inspire them to actually go out, go through that process, become that court reporter level person that can go in and watch these events like you did and get some more information out there. That was very inspiring, sir.
Yeah, well, thank you. You know, I've just been trying to be there if Wolfgang is making any progress or any headway with this case, because sometimes, there's not always someone there to cover it. And obviously we know there's not going to be any mainstream news. But really all you've got to do is, if you have a press pass, you just go through the proper procedures, contact the court before, show up, and, just make sure you don't step on their toes and make their job easy, and then they'll let you in. And essentially, you really shouldn't have to do any of that. Anyone should be able to record in there, because anyone can be an independent journalist. The freedom of press applies to all of us, not people that are just under some recognizable company or accredited, as that lawyer would say. And he credible, and then he listed people like CNN. So sort of a contradictory statement.
So
But
hold
you
on,
needed-
Justin,
you
I
didn't
missed
get
that. Can you explain what it is you did? I've been out of it all week, so I haven't seen this thing. What
Give us some
exactly were
history
you doing?
on the case as well, right?
Yeah, so Wolfgang Halbig is a school safety expert, retired police officer. He is basically the man spearheading the real investigation into the Sandy Hook school shooting. He started, digging for answers to learn about the shooting, and received a lot of harassment and, backlash when he pressed for more answers, just doing his job. This is a very credible person. He wasn't a conspiracy theorist or anyone, that was had even seen the rabbit hole yet. So when he started getting threats, he became the poster person for this, for trying to get to the truth about this. And one of the alleged parents is sort of the chosen one to, it's what it seems, to silence the truth on the internet and to shut down the truthers. He has his own website that's called the Honor Network that gets videos taken down and gets people flagged. And he's also taking Wolfgang to court because he claims that Wolfgang posted his personal information online. This alleged parent is Lenny Posner. If you guys remember from the school shooting, his son has supposedly died, is also the child that was shown in a Pakistan school shooting a couple years later. So apparently he died.
What was Justin? What was his excuse for his son being on the wall in Pakistan? What was the excuse for that?
I think the official excuse is just there was some sort of mistake made by the news media over there. I don't know how you tie that together and make sense of that. I don't know if he's actually come out and said anything personally, but they just claim it was a mistake, and that's really all there is to it. But it's just very strange how that happened.
Wow. So they say he was mistakenly, he was in Pakistan, but he wasn't, or they mistakenly showed a clip?
Yeah, they mistakenly chose a picture from a child that died at Sandy Hook. Now, the kid that supposedly died over there in Pakistan has, obviously a name nothing like Noah Posner. It's something that's, tough to pronounce and spell.
Yeah.
And how they would match that up with Noah Posner is just beyond me. And it's the exact same picture. It's not.
There it was, John. It was BBC were doing a shot, and they were walking up and down this little wall here, and there's Noah's photo in the background, straight behind him. And it wasn't like it was the photo was used once; it was used a number of times. They even held. Was there a press conference where someone was holding up one of the photos as well? Is that how I remember it, Justin, or was that was like in the front of the where they were standing, they were doing a press conference? There was also a different photo again.
Yes, it was seen in multiple instances. That's what actually added merit to it, because
so it's not a mistake. A mistake is once.
I've seen that too.
Used a number of times.
No surprise the BBC is involved.
And we do see people playing multiple, even in the case of a photo. The people play roles. It's not like they choose from a big pool, right? They have select people that seem to play roles over and over.
Well, that
as in all
girl
the
who's
false
crying
flags.
into
Yeah,
her mobile.
absolutely.
Yeah, if you recall, one of the other parents has been caught playing another role in the same tragedy. He was this, if you recall on YouTube, he's dubbed as the sloppy sniper. I think I forget his name, but one of the parents is seen in SWAT gear carrying his gun by the clip upside down, pointing
That's
at
right.
people, and he's
Wheeler.
got tags, and it's the same guy. He's got the same mold, the
Mm.
same size head, and everything.
Wow. So you
David-
turned up to
David
court.
Wheeler.
Yeah, David Wheeler. There you go.
Well done.
So you turned up to
So,
court
essentially,
to
like I said, Wolfgang is in court being sued by Mr. Posner for posting just his basic information that's already readily available online. So it's kind of a frivolous case, as some of the other witnesses in there said, and it's really just what I think it is to wear Wolfgang down. He's 70 years old. He's an old guy.
Yeah.
They're trying to drain his money, drain his energy, and keep him fighting these petty cases instead of getting answers about that day.
So do you know what the charges are?
What is it specifically called?
I wonder if we've got anyone in the law movement that's in the area, or
I can
help.
link you the docket. The docket's under the YouTube video, but I can't specifically remember what the charges are.
Right. I'm just wondering what made up bogus charges they've got, but
And it's funny because this parent is not only is this information already online, but he's done the exact same thing to Wolfgang, taken his information, his family's information, and posted it online to try to just cause more stir about him as well.
I mean, I
And then
must
you've got
admit,
the lawyer.
I don't agree with posting people's information online. I don't know what anyone else thinks about that, but on certain issues, I mean, if I've got no problem, the police having your information or whatever if you're suspected of, breaking the law or whatever. But if your details are already online, then that's just collating research.
Yeah, correct. And if you noticed, his attorney is something else. It's not the first time I've dealt with him. The last time it wasn't really as much on camera because he kind of got an upper hand on me and threw so much of a fit that I couldn't film in the last hearing. And he did the same thing. He just was interrupting the judge, yelling how I can't be in there and I shouldn't be in there. And she just fought him on it as long as she could. And, this time it stood and I was able to stay in the room. And
wow,
you can tell he was very upset.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, you guys seem to definitely have a relationship for sure.
Well, in the UK, I
like-
mean that wouldn't be allowed. You wouldn't be allowed televised, any sort of recording devices are not allowed in UK courts. So that I imagine you got the same sort of thing in the US. So did you know the legislation beforehand that allowed you access to the courtroom or whatever?
Yeah, as far as I knew, that as long as you were press, you could record. The first time I showed up, I didn't even contact them. I just showed up, walked in, and was recording. And then he started to throw a fit, and the judge asked me if I had checked with the court before, and it didn't seem like something I needed to do, but it was because he was causing so much of a stink. Because it was very telltale. The next time when I did call ahead, they were kind of confused, like, why are you calling? No one ever calls. You can just show up if you're pressed. I don't know what the deal is. But they were like, but since you called, we'll go ahead and register you. And then I got an escort. They escorted me up into the room. It was kind of nice. And then he was very unhappy when
I'll ask one more question, and then I'll hand it over to the other guys. But how does someone go about getting a press card, a press, credentials?
As long as you have a company or work for a company that claims to be the media, then you can print out a press pass. It's really not much to it than that. So you could start a business tomorrow, XYZ Incorporated, and you're the owner and the only employee, and you can go on your computer and put your headshot on there and type
So
out something.
is this something We Are Change offer? Do you know that We Are Change would stand as the company, or is it more prudent for each person to set up their own company so as to spread the you know what I mean, spread the
Liability.
redundancy?
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Not so much. It's really just all done through We Are Change. And you know, you really don't have to have much more on there than you could honestly put the First Amendment on the little wording on your press pass if you really wanted to. There's, you know, they don't read it or check anything. There's no list of, you know, accredited press. Like I was saying, at the end of the day, you could just be your own person, an independent journalist, and you have every right to be there, whether you We Are Change or CNN.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Hey, Justin, has still got the same the lady lawyer?
No, Wolfgang has had a lot of trouble with representation. His some have been scared off, some have just
The woman. I mean, I sat through. Who was doing the videos maybe about a year ago of Wolfgang? They were going for about, you know, when he was in
Connecticut.
He was in that. What's that? What was that one?
Was he in Connecticut?
Yes.
Yeah, those were the.
He was. Yeah, the FOIA.
Correct.
The ones. Yeah. She just didn't seem to me that. Do you think that she was on board with him, or do you think she just didn't come across as a person that was on his side? She didn't know what she was doing. Just, it frustrated the hell out of me watching her fumble around while they were in that little hearing there. It really was frustrating me anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I had a good feeling about her at first, but as time went on, I think all of us watching and Wolfgang became frustrated with what she was really doing. And, you know, I don't know if that's incompetence or working for the other side, but it's tough. Anyone that tries to take on the case gets some emails probably that say that, you know, they're going to contact all their employers and family members and tell them that they're representing, you know, this crazy person that's mental.
Yeah.
They take every angle to deter people. So
yeah. Who was the lawyer or the government guy who he rides the push bikes on the other side of those hearings?
Oh, Frank?
Monty, yeah. What a germ he is, eh?
Yeah, he's real scum.
What a germ. He just cringes looking at that guy. Yeah.
Florida Governor Rick Scott. They don't look human.
What was his name? Sorry? Monty who?
Monty Frank.
Oh, yeah.
There might actually be a website still up. It's a pretty damning website. It might be montyfrank.com. Let me see if it's still up. No, they've taken it down too.
Yep.
He's just one of those guys. He's just one of those guys. You look at him and you just go, "Oh, just a germ, dead set germ."
Yep, and you know, it's like that website, Sandy Hook Justice Report, and that one were both taken down. Wolfgang had to remove them because the threats just became pretty high on his family, and he decided to take those down and keep pushing in other methods.
Smart.
Yeah.
So cool. That's awesome, man. That's really cool to hear you doing stuff like that. And
so, Justin,
nice.
where do you think we're going to end up with it? Do you think it's all going to come out, or do you think it's just going to keep them being put under the rug, or what? Where do you reckon we're going to end up?
You know, that's a tough one. It's hard to be optimistic when you look at, you know, how long things like JFK and 9/11 have stayed under wraps for the most part. But it's also very unpredictable these days. You know, we have the internet and so many people learning so much more information, and, you know, who knows if one of these kids that lives in Newtown is going to grow up and be like, wait a minute, you know, that school was closed. What were my friends doing, or my friends' parents doing? I just have hope that somebody will, you know, more people will speak out and it will come to a head, but it's really tough to answer that question.
What was the moment for you that you saw the Sandy Hook and you went, "Oh, that's a load of crap"? What was the moment for you?
It was probably when I first saw that helicopter footage, and you notice that there was no kids, there was no urgency, there was no injured. there was no ambulances at the school. They were all blocked at the firehouse. And when I saw that, my guard went up. And I'd also only, quote unquote, woke up to all this information about 2 months before that. So that was like my I had my eyes wide open, and I was like, holy cow, this is like, the 9/11 that I'm going to be able to witness because I'm aware now. So
I was looking at Boston at the time, and I remember hearing on the radio about this. So it was a number of months later, and all these things about Sandy Hook were on the internet. So I clicked on one of them, and I saw Robbie Parker smiling as he was going to the press conference.
yeah,
I could not.
That was mine too, Rob.
that's probably for me.
Is that the guy laughing at the press
Yeah,
conference?
the dad laughing because his 6-year-old daughter just died.
And then composing himself as he started to talk.
Yeah,
It was just
that was one. And then the picture falling off the wall with the phony brother and sister.
Any
That's
parent
too.
that watched that guy laughing like that before he went on camera knew it instantly. If they don't know instantly that Sandy Hook's fake, then they're not a true parent. Because I would have nightmares when my son was born that something happened to him and wake up in cold sweat, panic just gripping me, let alone if it happened in reality. And here this guy is just cutting and laughing up with his buddies until he gets into that pose of, the classic crisis actor fake tear pose. And it's just, it makes my blood boil now just thinking about it.
There's a special place reserved for those ones.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, so no, that was the point for me, and it was like 9/11 all over again for me, because all these videos were coming out all at the one time, and I had Boston and Sandy Hook going at the same time, and I just couldn't get enough of them. But you get involved, you get really, really involved, you get angry watching a lot of these videos. But yeah, it changes your life, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. It's almost like I can agree with you with the getting angry part. It's like an insult to your intelligence. It's like the NASA stuff. Once you just start looking at how ridiculous some of the stuff they're showing you is, and no one's seeing it, you just get upset. It's kind of the only thing to do at that point.
It's like someone dropping a mic.
We've been really excited, Justin, to see your presentation. Yeah, me personally been just excited to see all of it. We've been talking about it for a while, so I think hour 2 is going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It was I wish I could have stayed in there longer, but it was still a good stop before I left and went home.
And yeah, and now that you've done it too, you know what to do. The next one you go to, it'll be much easier to put yourself in the spots and the positions and to do what you want to do even better than the first time, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I showed up and I just happened to catch the end of that tour. I was standing there in front of that tour guide for probably 20 seconds before I turned the camera on and asked the questions, and then it was completely over. So a couple hours prior, I could have got the whole tour in, and he would have hated me before that thing was over.
So the gentleman that conveniently answered the question for the guy that obviously didn't have the answer, you think he was a plant in the crowd or just a fanboy?
I think he was just a fanboy. There was a lot of people in there that were just, oh man, they were just in awe of everything.
Yeah.
So
I would have been that way 5 years ago. Heck, 3 years ago, I'd probably been still having the awe, even though I was pretty much over NASA by that point. I still hadn't found flat Earth, but yeah, I would have been probably just along for the ride myself, just a very few years ago. So
yeah, I was actually in that same museum a couple years ago, and was totally unaware. I had probably heard about the flat Earth, but I had never even thought about any of the moon landings being faked or NASA being lying. I went in there and just looked at everything, thought it was great, and left.
Yeah, go America.
I for one, haven't seen the video, so I don't know how many of the listeners have seen it either. So I don't know, maybe we should play the video now.
Oh, the one he's already got on YouTube? Yeah, we could do that, guys, if you would like to.
I don't know if that was what you had planned, but if you're discussing it, because I can't chip in.
Yeah, we certainly can. It's brilliant.
Do we have anything else we want to talk about for this week that happened or anything before? Because that's
yeah, we could kind of glance over what's been going on this week in Flat Earth, gentlemen.
There was that.
Yeah, go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
James.
No, you go.
No.
Go.
Well, mine's going to get a little drawn out when I get Adam involved. So go ahead and talk about the satellite. Was that what you're about to talk about?
The Himawari or whatever. Yeah.
That's why I was going to let you
Joke.
talk about it.
Yeah. No.
I didn't want to fumble over that pronunciation.
Yeah. No, I think it's.
So that's Rob's baby, I think. Rob, talk to us about
Yeah.
that satellite, brother. Uh-oh, have we lost Rob? He probably fell off the earth down there.
You forgot to put his gravity
His
boots on for the show.
Well, his toes, I mean, grip toes so long until they get tired and just have to let go. I mean, anyway, so the satellite is apparently the big thing going right now, showing pictures of the earth with this lovely terminator line, and yet no lights at all in the dark part of the earth. And any of us who play with photography and ISO settings and that kind of thing, if you look at those pictures and look at those, I mean, to let that much light in for that little sliver of light to hit, you would have to see city lights. You would have to see something below. There wouldn't be a totally black ball with just a sliver of light over on the side, top right corner. In my opinion, from photos I've taken, I could be wrong. What do you guys think?
Absolutely. Totally agree. You see lights from the ISS, don't you? Well, you're supposed to see lights from the ISS.
Oh no, that's only the canned footage.
Yeah. But
Good.
yeah, it's I don't know how to explain it. It's just not right. And
well, that being said, I mean,
we should see the moon and the sun in there
the
at some
moon, the
stage
sun,
as well.
all of that, right? When it does the hole around the Earth, you see the sun panning across the surface of the ball they've got there, and from the angles it's showing, at some point you would think there in the distant background we would see some sunlight, if not the actual sun itself. But space stays incredibly black through the whole.
I don't know how up to date it is too, because I was clicking on it just as we started live here, and the Terminator line was over the top of, well, hadn't even got to the east coast of Australia yet, and I could see the sun already, so that Terminator line should have been well over the top of Australia by then. So I don't know, and the photo said it was 2 minutes old, so I don't know. It's probably not. That's not right anyway.
It's all smoke and mirrors, man. It's all smoke and mirrors, dude. Wait till we find all the weather balloons that actually do the minimal amount of transmitting that is left to be done on the Earth, right? Because everything's done under cables. We all know that. So
I just think anyone who looks at the Himawari feed, anyone who thinks that is depicting reality, needs a head exam. I'm sorry, but it just, that would just be like showing you a cartoon and saying it's real. It's just ridiculous.
I'm just going to go back to the night. Should I share screens and just put one up there?
Yeah, please. I was trying to get it up myself, and I'm having trouble with my little system here. Go ahead. Thank you, Rob.
All right. I might, hang on, I'll just muck around for a second. I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, I just had to bugger off for a second.
Right. Well, I think we kind of got off on this topic out of the blue, and I don't think we have the photos up either. So we're, just talking about what's going on this week. No big dilly.
Anything else happen major? Any other stories while Rob gets the thing together? Oh, he's faster than we thought.
Yeah, he's good. Rob don't play around. He's got it.
All right.
Everyone can see that?
Yes, sir.
So if in my eyes, if you can see that, then it must be picking up some sort of light source. And Melbourne and Sydney, somewhere around here, should be able to be seen. Just they're big cities. They're 3-4 million each. They cover a wide area. So if a camera is able to pick up the light around here, then surely it can pick up the light of these cities, even if they were faint. Even if they were faint light.
Absolutely.
pick up some light.
Because then you look at the ISS picture of Africa and it's lit up like a fucking like a torch, you know, which
In canned
which
footage.
is like
That's only in canned footage. Okay, I'm early on. I spent hours, just like Globebusters did, watching ISS, watching. Never on a live footage have I seen city lights, lightning, aurora borealis, any of that. None of that happens live ever. It's only the next couple of days or a week later, then you go to the archives and suddenly, brilliant lights, amazing auroras, lightning strikes, storms, clouds actually in motion. A slight bit of actual parallax to the video instead of this like scroll effect you get live. I mean, it's not the same footage. It's never shows you lights below. It just isn't there. Not in live
What's more
footage.
remarkable, I find what's more remarkable about this is that, you know, has anyone ever seen the moon or the sun pass behind the Earth, as it must do?
Never.
Twice, you know, once a day, it must pass. Okay, I can understand they may be on different orbital angles, that sort of thing, but over however many months this thing's been up, has anyone seen live the moon or the sun going behind the Earth? Anyone here?
no,
No.
No,
they can't. That would be showing a fourth wall.
No. It's always a convenient whiteout in the camera when it happens on the ISS. I haven't watched satellite footage as much as you guys have, but when Rob was showing it to us the other night, I could see that, yeah, you would definitely should be seeing some city lights in that area. It just doesn't. You can't resolve that little sliver of light in darkness and not pick up city lights too.
Well, you know very well who makes those footages. It's that wonderful astronaut who was talking about the the space capsule. He's
Yes,
the one
sir.
that does all that footage.
Yes, sir.
The canned stuff. So I know it's coming from a good source.
Absolutely.
Jeff Daniels has been busy.
He's something. Anything else
Yes,
interesting this week?
I don't know if anyone was seeing that. Then I'm obviously I'm on my iPad with the what's going on here, and all I could see was the flat line, and the flat Earth on the. So Josh, is everyone seeing what I was just seeing? What I was sharing.
I saw the video, yeah. The footage. Yes, sir.
Yep.
You see it via Hangouts or via YouTube?
I'm a little behind on YouTube. Let me look.
That's
YouTube,
a good
sorry.
question.
Yeah, YouTube.
Yeah, I wonder if I got it out to YouTube. Sorry, I got so many screens to share. It gets a little confusing.
Well,
Yep.
I'm just seeing
You're the man, though.
Full Armor OG and the Flat Earth Friday. It's just going, you know, got the thing going round in circles in the middle of it. So
Yeah.
I've swapped from the
That's
live
cool.
feed to the Hangout.
We'll switch
room.
up.
That's okay. Doesn't matter.
Because I could see it
James,
on the
are you
Hangout.
trying to get into the Hangout? I see in the chat. If you're trying to get in, you're more than welcome to join us, James
I
Cord.
sent him a link.
Right.
I don't think I've ever
Nice.
spoken to James before.
Not live. Nope.
No, not even at all. Not at all.
No, nor me. I
He's
don't
been
think so.
kicking around with us though since pretty much the beginning.
No,
Old Oak.
he was in that first room we ever opened up, wasn't he?
Yes, sir. He surely was.
I've got a feeling he's not that far away from me either.
I don't think he is, sir. I think he's right down the road
James,
there. a
James
bit.
is a film star. We're very
That's probably why he didn't want to come hang out with us bums
Mhm.
with this low grade production. He's used to all that high grade
fancy foo-foo that
right.
he gets in
right
British
Pinewood
Hollywood.
Studios and whatnot,
Mm.
right?
Has anyone got an opinion on the PhD? What was it out in the somewhere in the Turkey or something?
thesis?
Yeah, I've got it.
thesis.
The
Yeah.
article itself
Has there-
was
anyone
ridiculous.
got a,
You
anyone
got the
an opinion
PhD?
on
I
that?
mean, thesis? I never found it.
Josh, can you explain? I'm so lost. Josh, tell us about it. This thing.
Well, I'd rather read the article because it's just such a crock of shit. Pardon my language.
Sir,
Good,
it's
good.
it's such a smear job. Yes, go.
Definitely go.
Outside, Josh.
So yeah, I'll rate it, and it's pretty well self-explanatory. So
Is it long?
For an Australian, yeah, it's about
Yeah.
4 paragraphs.
it was called
Hopefully you
PhD.
can stay awake.
Yeah, you couldn't handle it, Rob. He'll do it for you. Hang on.
I'm off to bed then.
Will continue to suffer educational and cultural crisis until it properly digests the different methodologies of science and religion.
And we lost him.
Hmm.
Oh, did
My
we?
goodness. I don't hear Josh anymore. Do you guys hear him?
Of course, we lost him when you were saying something important.
That's every time, man.
Every
They wait till
time.
something. We're actually offline, so apparently his system crashed. So everyone move to John's channel, and I will start streaming on mine as well. I'm telling the audience that might be listening in some form. Trippy McGee is definitely telling me we're offline, both on the chat and personally here.
Who's got a silky smooth voice that's capable of reading?
All right.
Adam, you
That's
can
what it
read,
is.
can't
The
you?
the
I can't.
algorithms hear that and they think it's actually a real radio situation being pirated through, and they don't know what to do, so they just shut it down.
We are back live, it says, so that is great.
It does. Let us go then.
See, for some reason, my computer just gets running too many processes, and I think I just have to freeze up for a minute to let everything catch up.
We're
All
going to
right.
work on that this week, sir. That is going to be fixed by next Friday. Go
So
ahead.
last week, a huge scandal rocked the Tunisian and Arab scientific and educational world. A PhD student submitted a thesis declaring the Earth to be flat, moving, young, only 13,500 years of age, and the center of the universe. Going even bolder and further, the student explicitly rejected the physics of Newton and Einstein, the astronomy of Copernicus and Kepler, and the cosmology of the Big Bang, the main models of atmospheric and geological activity, and most of modern climatology. The student submitted her thesis after 5 years of work. It was then sent to 2 assessors, thus passing the first stage of approvals. The reports were expected soon for the thesis defense to be scheduled. It was at this stage that fate luckily intervened. A copy of the thesis was leaked to the former president of the Tunisian Astronomical Association, who checked that it was not a hoax and then quickly rang the alarm by posting on Facebook the conclusions of the thesis verbatim. Gulf News readers may recall that 2 years ago, I wrote a column lamenting the talk that a Saudi cleric had given at the United Arab Emirates, insisting that the Earth does not rotate, neither around itself nor around the sun. I described the moment as a debacle and tried to draw lessons from it. This new scandal is much worse because it does not come from a cleric. That was bad enough, but rather from a PhD student in science. Her supervisor held the professor rank, the highest in academia, and they were explicitly rejecting major parts of modern science. John, did you want to jump in there?
No, sorry, I was just muting myself from giggling because I know it cuts your mic off. Sorry, I'm muting now.
That's all right.
I like the way that the article is written to
Yeah,
make it absolutely sound ridiculous.
Oh, it gets better.
It's not. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They also went further just to submit a thesis. They published a paper in an obscure and disreputable journal presenting the physical and astronomical arguments for geocentrism, the Earth being central and fixed in the universe. The paper is available online and anyone can quickly check that both the paper and the journal are worthless. Countless grammatical errors, mediocre references, and puny scientific arguments. The journal is classified as a fake and predatory, one of those pay and will publish your article quickly with no reviewing or editing. I don't mean to belabor the point, but it's worth citing a few ideas from the general conclusion given at the end of the thesis. if at least to fully impress upon the reader the size of the calamity that has just occurred before we analyze its causes. The results of this doctoral thesis include the Earth is flat and young, and it stands immobile at the center of the universe, which is made of only one galaxy. The sun's diameter is 1,135 kilometers, not 1.4 million kilometers. The moon is 908 kilometers wide, and they lie 687 and 23 times closer to the Earth, respectively. There are 11 planets. Stars are limited in number and have a diameter of 292 kilometers, not millions of kilometers. How does one explain such a stunning ignorance of basic astronomy, coupled with such brashness and insolence, rejecting Copernicus, Kepler, Newton, Einstein, Hubble, and everything in science? In this particular case, I believe this was due to an adherence to religious, scriptural literalism, and in other words, taking the meanings of religious texts literally and blindly at the cost of rejecting all knowledge that appears to contradict it, no matter how much evidence supports it. Indeed, we find the conclusion of the thesis clear indications of this stand-and approach expressions such as using physical and religious arguments. Also, proving the world scale of Noah's flood, proposed a new kinematic approach that conforms to the verses of the Quran. The roles of the stars are to be ornaments of the day, to the stone of the devils, and as the signs guide creatures in the darkness of the earth. And finally, the geocentric model accords with the verses of the Quran and the pronouncements of our prophet. So that was basically the author of the article's take on just the thesis. Now, this is where it gets really gross, because he obviously did very little research. So the next part of the article is called Comeback.
Also, Josh, he also didn't provide a link to the actual thesis either. Just said you can find it online through a shit journal. It didn't even name the journal.
No, it's two different things. The thesis should be online. And then they submitted an article to the journal. So you should have been able to find both. I couldn't find either.
No,
I haven't found them either.
Others have looked as well. So, that's quite interesting, and it's also quite dishonest.
Yeah.
Welcome, James. I see you made it in. Welcome, buddy.
Hi, James. Welcome, sir. Stage fright, my goodness. What an actor.
I'm saying hello, James. Welcome.
So now the author then goes on to address the recent rise of the flat earth. Well, sort of. It says comeback. Flat earthism has lately been making a comeback and spreading like bushfire through social media. Search for flat earth on YouTube and you'll find almost 1 million videos. Flat Earth Society gets 400,000 pages on the web. Flat Earth Proof gets you 200,000 pages, etc. But this social media trend I attribute to people's inclination toward conspiracy theories. NASA has faked the moon landing. NASA photoshopped space images. Give us real proofs that these interplanetary spacecraft are factual, etc. In 2001, when the internet was still young and the moon landing hoax was just emerging as a trend meme without social media to support its spread, I gave several talks titled, Did NASA Fake the Moon Landing? Or Are We Miserably Failing to Educate the Public? But the latest shocking event, the PhD thesis, implies that we are not only failing to educate the public, that is manifest in the trendy flat earth and NASA lies memes on social media, but also our brightest students. It's been reported that the PhD student has previously graduated at the top of her class. What we are failing to clarify and communicate is how to distinguish between scientific knowledge, facts, models, theories, etc., and religious knowledge, what verses mean and what they intend to teach us. I believe the Arab Muslim world will continue to suffer educational and cultural crises, not to mention a total lack of understanding of science, until it properly digests the different methods and religion without diminishing the value of each.
I couldn't agree more. I think we're all fucked until we realise that we're not living on a spinning ball. Excuse my language.
Well, the plus is that she graduated at the top of her class, so that's awesome.
But she's not educated.
Well, obviously not. And then the other part of it that was just too great is that they always throw in those numbers, like the million videos. We all have seen the person that goes in and changes the options on their filter and gets over 14 million, and that was some months ago, six months ago.
Dude, give me 2 weeks, I'll hit 1 million myself. This is such
exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then they have to throw in the Flat Earth Society as a classic thing to make people go to, because that's what everyone's heard since first grade. Flat Earth Society, they're going to fall off the edge. There are a bunch of people living in the Middle Ages, and that's where they're going first and finding out all this, the earth rises up bullshit. Oh, sorry. And then there goes options for true research. Oh, my goodness.
I like the way they also say it was, you know, a sort of predatory peer review paper as well, that you just pay someone a bit of money and they'll just publish your review. I mean, if anyone's not seen it, then get your ass to my blog and look up The Religion of Scientism, a steaming pile of peer review. And it is literally full of examples that is mainstream examples of how the peer review process is utterly devoid of any credibility, and it's just, I mean, these are the editors themselves, or, you know, the editor of the Lancet said something like 50% of what you read in peer review paper is just made up. None of it's repeatable. You've got a major medical journal retracts numerous scientific papers about fake peer review scandal. I mean, if this guy's bitching and moaning, saying that anyone can just go along and pay this journal to publish their papers or their thesis, then you know, you need to look at the big boys, because they're doing it absolutely as well. So it's I find it hilarious.
Well, hopefully we can somehow find a link to that actual paper and get that on our pages, on our site, on our Twitter feed, and get that out there for people. Someone should be able to find it.
I'm going to find that and get it out there. Because if it was leaked,
well, guys, we are coming up
the
on
guy
the
was tweeting
top
about
of the
it,
hour. I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
I was just saying it was leaked to the, what was it, the Tunisian
something like that.
science minister, previous science minister or something. So, and he was tweeting it verbatim or something along. Was he did tweet it or not? I can't remember now.
Something like that. Well,
I think
I'll put a link.
I think he said he put it on Facebook verbatim.
Okay. So anyone with Facebook can.
Someone on Facebook should find it for us.
Did anyone see
social media?
Did anyone see on Twitter? It could completely change the subject. Sorry, but I've got to put it out there before I forget it. Elon Musk. Someone saying, criticizing why it was all done at night. All the film shooting and everything of the landing of the rocket was done at night, not during the day. And Elon Musk calmly came back and said, because the CGI is easier to do at night. Full stop. And then didn't comment again.
Really?
Got 6,000 retweets or whatever. Go check his feed out. But anyway.
Oh, that's beautiful. Brilliant.
Sorry, I didn't mean to detract. I just wanted to get that in
there.
there.
We're hitting the top of the hour. Why don't we give everybody a second to take a break, tend to any personal needs. We're going to put up some beautiful music for you to listen to for a few minutes. We're not going anywhere. The feed's going to stay up. You guys stay right here. Stay tuned in. We still have Justin Harvey with us from We Are Change Orlando. We still have his video that he took at the Space and Science Museum, and that's all going to be coming up in the next hour. So stay with us. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a little while. And hopefully we'll get our buddy James Bondage back in and He'll hopefully join us on the chat there. Do I hear some subliminal advertising on our channel?
I think he was trying.
Earth is flat.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. Huh. Funny how that works. Now that I want to,
Always.
not going to work.
All right.
Give me
James, you got it handy, sir? Oh, he may already be gone, taking his break. All right. Sing a song for you guys. No.
Oh God, no.
No.
If you need a coffee, go and make it now. We'll be back in 5 minutes, apparently. Bye-bye.
Yeah, we'll be back in 5.
5.
Thanks, guys.
I do have something to lead us out. This rapper
Awesome.
named Spose.
Oh, I saw music go up. Oh, no, it didn't.
Did you hear it or did you see it?
No, I just was on the video here to my left. I've got so many screens. I'm like you. I got like 3 screens going here. So, all right. Read away, sir. I'll be back in a moment. Sorry for the technical glitches.
I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit of this. It was like the first 30, 40 seconds of the song. I heard it and it made me laugh. I think you guys will catch on to the theme of the song.
I'd never lie to you. There's no drums in this song. I spit my verses all in Spanish. I was born in Kansas. I'm the richest person on the planet. I would never get a chance to. I never feed my daughter fast food. Bobby Flay never wrote a recipe. Michelle Obama won't stop sexting me. Toss 'em in spandex. Nobody's ever got killed by Aaron Hernandez. Tupac's alive. Smurfs are black. Bitches are real. Earth is flat. Excess number 5 in
So yeah, that made me laugh a little when I heard that. Thought that was pretty good.
So, Josh, is that everything he's saying is a lie, yeah? But then he goes and says the Earth is flat. So he's telling his listeners that he's lying, that the Earth isn't flat.
Yeah, I got that. I just thought it was a funny reference.
It is funny, yeah. Again, more baller bloody propaganda.
It's amazing how much you actually notice out there these days.
Yeah, it really is. All right, well, I'm just going to play a little bit of music then and go make a head call, freshen up the coffee.
Okay, see you in a bit.
See ya. Hour 2 of IronRealmMedia. I'm
And
Josh.
Josh, hi, I'm sorry. I didn't know we were going. I apologize. Go ahead, sir.
No, go ahead.
I thought you still had music going. Too many screens. Go right ahead. I apologize.
Hey, buddy, we're back.
We are back.
Carry on, Josh. All yours.
Nope, that's it. I'm done. We are back.
We're back.
Well, I was
Hello,
trying to
hello.
attempt to play the song for us, but every time I go into the call, I call you guys. Yeah, I don't know how to get in without calling. It's acting up. I apologize again.
Do you have an MP4?
I have it right here in front of me. If I could just get my screen.
I meant 3.
Share.
Do you have an MP3 of the song?
Not handy. No, that's more complicated.
Yeah, it is.
Here we go. I'm about to do it right now.
So only one thing that did take off this week.
Go. Oh man.
What's that, Sean?
I spy in the sky #, Twitter.
If you want to hold on a little bit, Karen joining us.
Good.
She's listening now.
All right.
Yeah,
Excellent.
I sent her a link. We can totally knock that out whenever we are ready. I'm
Time
really
to
looking
talk
forward
about
to
knocking
tackling that.
things out.
So, what are we doing first? The NASA? I'm looking forward to Justin's piece for sure.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Well, we can go straight into that. If you would rather than me try to attempt this song, go right ahead.
Well, let's not go straight into it because apparently everything's been screwed up with my audio. So my videos are now no longer playing. So let me get that set back up.
Well, you get that set up on share my screen, put my screen up.
Sounds good.
Your audio sounds fine.
No audio.
No audio. Well, of course I don't know how to do this. Okay.
No, you got the same problem I have.
Yeah.
You need a virtual
I thought I could trick
board
Google if
or
I went in
something.
with 2 different profiles, right? So, oh well, we can see the prettiness of it all. One day we'll have a show.
What was wrong with your audio, Josh? Nothing.
I don't know. It was playing fine last night, but now I'm just going to quit sharing because it's not working. It was a good try. While I'm playing around with it, I will see if I can get it to work out.
Okay, moving along.
Yes, sir, James. Please move us along. You're the man.
Pivot time. Yeah, that really covers that. PhD was really interesting, Josh. I'm a little skeptical when it comes to that book myself personally, but it's just fascinating to see what kind of pushback it was from other people and the lashing out. And as well, it was really an eye opener to hear, John, how loose and in some ways yet tight it is in another, where you can pay people to get a recommendation or a paper passed through, you know.
The peer
that
review
whole
system is horribly shocking. Yeah, when you think that you know, the credibility and the prestige and the weight that is put into quoting a peer-reviewed paper by a PhD, blah blah blah, through or an article through a learned journal. When you actually scratch the surface, you realise that it is literally jobs for the boys, backhanders, a circle jerk, in no other terms, and they can put anything they want.
Like a little old boys club. Like I went to a private school for a couple of years, and yeah, it was just a few key families and you know, people that had all the sway and the money and the power in the town, and that
it's a microcosm. It's a microcosm view of what is running this world. Basically, it's backhanders, it's jobs for the boys, it's mates, it's secret societies, it's acquaintances. This is, in a nutshell, what is happening in the world today.
Because if you really break it down for everybody, and correct me if I'm wrong, John, but essentially what you're doing, and everybody demands a peer-reviewed paper to stand up. You're actually asking people you went to school with in your class probably to say, hey, read my paper. Do you think it's good? And if they like you or not, go fuck, you know, they're gonna, it's all a game. It's all, you're just doing it in front of your own friends, really, the people you went to school with.
I mean, a lot of it's the people you are friends with, you know. It all depends on whose palms you grease and who holds the best dinner parties and the best receptions. And
how hard is it, John? Let me ask you, would it be for a regular guy to say, get a peer-reviewed paper published? What would somebody, let's say I in Canada wanted to get a peer-reviewed paper, how easy would that be?
Well, we'd need to get someone PhD'd on here, like Dr. Jolie, to tell us the whole process. I mean, put it this way: if you were to put forward a PhD paper saying the Earth is flat, I would be very surprised if you could find sponsors to put their name to that. Whereas, you know, what we're seeing here in the Eastern world is more of an agreement to put that sort of thing forward, because that's not far off what their traditional you know, cosmology was, and in reality it's not far off what the Western traditional cosmology is or was, but yeah, over here you'll get ridiculed. Well, over there you'll get ridiculed by looking at this article. The guy can't hold it in his he can't hold it together, can he? He's shaking with he won't even put a link to it so that his readers, his trusting readers, you know, that he trusts to have a decent intellect because they're reading his you know, words. He won't even put a link in there to it or the journal
to allow them to decide.
That just stinks of fear to me, and fear and truth fears no investigation. So this guy is scared that people may actually find it because people who read it may actually agree with it. Wow, we got a full house. Hey, Kaz. Who else we got?
Hi, Kaz.
Hi, Kaz. Welcome.
Did we never get James back on?
Hey, can you hear me?
Hey,
Yes,
Kaz.
ma'am.
Great to hear you,
How you
Kaz.
doing?
Hello, how you doing? Hi, John. Hi, all.
Good to hear you again.
And you. Hang on, I need volume.
That's all right.
Thank you, John. First of all, I must, in person or in voice, say thank you, John.
No problem.
My editor.
Nice.
Checks in
I'm
the
a woman
post.
John's,
people lied to.
John's been a big
You make
inspiration.
me- Sorry. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, John's been a big inspiration for a lot of us here, me included. He's done some outstanding things on Twitter and on, his experiments are second to none. So, yeah, it's nice to hear him get a little praise too.
Shucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
And it's nice to meet you, man. Glad to have you on our show. We appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.
Thank you for
You come on a good day. We have a great guest as well here. Justin's been with us before. He is out there making things happen. He's an inspiration to us all for sure. You're also quite out there getting some things done. So it's great. It's great to have people who are, taking some of this information we have and trying to get it out there and make people understand that we're not just a bunch of tinfoil hat lunatics. It's really, you guys are doing some great stuff. Thank you, guys.
No, I agree. I think it's brilliant to get it on the ground because I haven't got what it takes to get it on the ground. But you have,
well, you see us fumbling through this show here, so
this is
you
about
guys
the best
go.
we can do.
We're doing the best we can.
But someone, like Justin and Karen, who are actually willing to get out there and get their face in other people's faces, and respect to them. Dell and all those sort of people, respect to them, without a doubt.
It's trying to get people to think again.
Yeah,
Think
and they're
that-
generally nicer when you meet them face to face, but it's hard to call someone a flat earth retard, moron, don't reproduce, drink bleach, and etc. But it's a lot harder to do that when you're stood in front of the person.
We've said that a lot, John. You get a fair shake. You at least get the look. You can look them in the eye.
Yeah, or maybe you need to be the build of Dell, who's probably 6 foot Scottish tattooed guy. He may have the maybe you need some bouncers to go with you, Kaz.
I think the ladies will do fine.
The thing is, you see, it's to restrain me. I need to
That's
be
sort of what I was
restrained.
thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, the patience is not so great nowadays, and this is it. This is what I said. I'm a woman. I've been lied to, so to keep me quiet is quite difficult, and it's frustrating.
Well, I'll tell you what. Do you want to give us a rundown of what it is you've come up with? And I don't know, Josh, have you got the questionnaire thing there that you can read with your silky voice? Or
Oh yes.
I think
Kaz,
I've got
maybe
one.
you could read it to us.
No. Please feel free.
I wouldn't
Silky
force it.
voice is good to me.
Sorry, I dropped you in it there, Josh.
Let me hear my word.
All right, let's see. It's awfully small. I might have to zoom in a little.
And this is basically a
Old
sort of
age.
leaflet, Karen, you were handing out near Bristol Airport, was it?
Yeah, I
going
haven't
to?
gone yet. I'm going to get some printed out. I'm getting them sent to me. I've got
Wow.
1,000 coming. But
Brilliant.
yeah, basically, it's not either way. It's sort of just to try and get people to look and see it, hopefully with a new, I don't know, just clear view. Just
Well, it's just
no influence.
asking
That's
simple
what-
questions, isn't it?
It
Just
is
asking simple
observations and
questions,
just-
asking people to make simple observations.
I find it fascinating that people see, like, you've got one picture, but you get so many different perceptions from different people. I find that fascinating, and I wanted a little pool that we can put that in, and we can sort of see where people are coming from.
Well, I think that hashtag I spy, what was it, from the sky? There's me.
I spy in the sky.
In the sky. I spy in the sky. Yeah, anyone on Twitter, look that hashtag up because it's quite amusing. There's already been a
And we've
couple
already had
of
everything
trails.
serious do. Sorry, John.
No, carry on.
I was going to say, we've already had everything serious put some pictures and the drinks sat there that he ordered. And somebody, I couldn't find the comment.
He's a great guy. Not everything's serious, yeah. Good person.
Yeah, somebody did comment
Shout
and
out.
say that gravity kept that drink level from in the plane, which made me, I go off in my little, I guess, suppressed thoughts as a kid. And so if it keeps a drink level in an aeroplane, how can you blow bubbles in between?
We also had a reply from a pilot, didn't we?
Maybe, yes,
did you see that?
did, yes.
And he was saying,
Yeah.
no, you're looking out the wrong window. You can't see it out the side windows. Even though millions, literally millions of people claim this as their trump card proof, is that I've been in a plane and I've seen it out of the window. So this pilot is saying you can't see it out of the window. You need to be in the cockpit where it's not concave or convex glass. And so we asked him for a photo, didn't we? He said, you can't have one.
I have noticed a bit of backtracking on this curve idea from a plane.
Oh, that was the other guy. Well, that was the science guy who said there's absolutely no way you could ever see the curve. You have to get up to, quote, unpractical heights.
That was it.
Of which he wouldn't state which was unpractical, which I sent him the Thule Society paper, which is dodgy in itself, but they said you should be able to see it from 20,000.
Thule Society? Give me a break.
Yeah, the Thule Society. They actually did a massive, well, it was a 6-page study on this. It's quite funny. But they even have to concede that you should see it from 20,000 to 35,000 upwards. So yeah, we asked the pilot, for some photographs. He said, no, you can't do them. I mean, we explained to him you can get panoramic photos.
Reminds me a bit about the distance to the sun. Everybody has a different answer. No, you can see it at Mount Everest. No, you can see it at 45,000. No, you got to be at 100,000. Like, it's a joke. It's a living myth, legend.
It is. I'd like to carry on talking to the pilot guy because I had a camera in the 70s that would take panoramic photos, and I got a few out of the windows, and I've gone back since and looked at them. A lot of them were in Australia, actually. In the what were they called? No, I can't remember it. In Western Australia, but it was flat, and these things were like, 6 inches long by 3 inches wide. Panoramic photos are fantastic. But apparently these days, another step back in time for technology, we can't do panoramic photos anymore. That's basically what he said, wasn't it, Kaz?
It was. Yeah, and also it was the science guy. No, sorry, that was a pilot, wasn't it? The science guy said that he has actually witnessed boats disappearing hull first as they sail away.
That's right, as we all have.
So I did request that he gets his zoom lens showing us the hull sailing first.
Yeah, I can't imagine him doing that, to be perfectly honest. He couldn't be bothered to actually read the papers I sent him, or watch the videos I sent him, or read the conclusion I sent.
No, but is this the same guy that said you can't see it depending on the height? You couldn't see it, but you can see the plane going hull first.
Totally contradicting himself. As they have to. It's either you can't see it from any height, or you can't see the ship sailing over the horizon. They can't have their cake and eat it, which they
No,
love to do.
they don't see their own contradictions.
So, Josh, did you manage to get a copy of that, or we
I think
cut you
Josh
off
is
there?
actually still trying to work out his video issue on. We were trying to present the video that Justin had taken on his museum tour, but
No, I've got it.
apparently in his crash earlier, he had some issues getting everything back up. Are you back up on your video stuff yet there, Josh?
I think I've got it pulled back up.
Okay,
Cool.
cool deal. Well, before we get sidetracked, I guess, on something else and lose video again, it's about, what, 20 minutes or so, maybe, of stuff we can
Probably
go into
thereabouts.
thereabouts. And anybody wants to interrupt with observations, questions, Justin, definitely point out things. I know you said there's some places in the video that we should pause it because you were like kind of hovering over some information plaques. You really didn't have time. Too little memory and too much to see on your camera. I know how that goes. I always am running out of space with my memory card. But not to cut you off, Karen, I'm sorry. I'm just trying. We've got so many things going here at one
No,
time,
it's
trying to
fine.
get everything going.
I've been dying.
I'm actually looking for those questions myself. I have them here somewhere. I've been trying to pull them up.
And Justin, if you don't mind, can you just give it a little frame it up just before?
Yeah, kind of frame it for us, and I'm gonna dig up those
Josh
questions.
plays
I know
that,
I have them here too. Let me find my copy of them. My
Show
goodness.
notes. Check the show notes.
You would think that's where I had them, but apparently never mind. Go ahead.
Go, Justin.
Yeah, so essentially I had some time to kill. I was in DC for work and my flight got delayed. So I thought, well, how quick can I get over to the Air and Space Museum and poke around? So I shot over there, and like you guys were saying, I didn't have a whole lot of time. I didn't have a whole lot of memory or battery on my camera. So I tried to go in there and get as much on tape as possible. Just so, I could get it posted and you guys and everyone else around the world could take a look at it and, analyze some things, the things that they're showing us and telling us in there. There's, never know what clues we could pick up on or, things that we could, counter that they say. So that's why, like you said, if you want to pause it or ask me any questions, I did try to just get a shot of something and then I'll just move into the next room. And I still didn't even get all the rooms covered. It's a pretty good place. And I caught the tail end of a tour that I jumped into. It had been going on for probably 30 minutes to an hour. I caught the very end of it at the lunar module craft and, threw in my 2 questions, which was really the highlight of my stint in there. So I asked a couple more questions moving around in there to the people just to kind of see what it was like, got the schedule. So if I ever do go back, I can maybe get some more done in there. It's free
We
to
should
go.
all plan a meetup. We should all meet up there at the museum one day.
Yeah, and it's totally free to get in. They didn't have a problem with cameras, obviously, because it's a big tourist trap. And it'd be a great place, to hang out front or even inside and just question people in there. And ask them
Might
about.
be around there in November. That's in Florida, Justin?
No, it's in Washington, D.C.
Oh, that's even closer, right?
Yeah, he's on the move. He's quite. He gets around, from what I understand, with the things he's doing.
Yeah, so it's right there smack in the middle of everything in DC around all those other museums. It's the Space and Air Museum, so half of it is dedicated to.
Yeah, I've said it wrong 3 times now. I do apologize.
It's got a long name. I think the official name is the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum. So half of it's got airplane stuff and Wright brothers and Amelia Earhart, and the other half is, NASA and fairy tales.
What's hilarious, and I hope we don't get copyright strike for saying this, but I'm rehashing some old video games and I'm playing Fallout 3. I was in this museum just last night in the game because it takes place in the burnout future after war of Washington, D.C. So I was in this museum looking at some of the stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what happened in there. I guess I was in there for about 45 minutes to an hour, and then had to catch my flight back home. So.
All right, then. Without further ado, let's go ahead and roll that beautiful bean footage.
Yes, sir.
Going to share that in Hangouts, Josh?
You know, John, that might be a good idea if you guys actually want to watch it too.
Well, yeah, I'll switch it over now.
Just don't tax your system, though.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. We'll see.
It's on YouTube. IronRealmMedia.
There you go. You guys just watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, your YouTube's just going around in circles here.
Perfect. Thanks.
Not seeing it.
I'm gonna press. Yeah. Push. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I think we're delayed on YouTube, and I think all our brains are melting trying to hear and understand what's going on.
It's playing again.
Now they're on their way home. So on the way home, when you have public beaching and my service line, and you start entering yours, getting close to entering yours, you have to clear, you get rid of the service
Look at that thing.
command module around, so it's coming in on the side first. And I want to show you what that is.
So is this a mock-up, or is that supposed to be the real thing?
In other words, that's what
Justin, do you know if that was a mock-up or is that the real thing?
The real limb.
I think it's supposed to be the real thing.
Well, I thought Ron Howard had the real one in his office. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, look at that, guys. I mean, come on.
Holy cow, that is it. Wow.
That's just. I have a buddy that works in like stainless steel siding and stainless steel in like construction, and he puts things together in his backyard for a barbecue in like 10 minutes. It looks like better than that thing is assembled. This is crazy.
Fantastic footage, Justin. Nice one.
It's great. It's beautiful. Oh, the answer,
hairdryer.
my friends, blowing in the wind. Those sparkles, don't forget those.
High detail on the suit there.
Mm-hmm. Well, if they had the real one that close and you could actually walk up and look at it, you would realize how ludicrous it was that anyone could survive.
Is that where
vacuums of space in it?
Is that where the vehicle came out of? In that little compartment?
That hatch area back there?
The vehicle was attached to the bottom of it and was sort of all folded up. But what we're looking at there is the hatch that paper mache spaceman was meant to get through with his backpack on. With his backpack on. I mean, hello.
Does look a little like a bendy door too, doesn't it?
And that's the same hatch that they chunked those same suits out of before they lifted off from a foreign planet, a foreign body, for the first time ever in the history of mankind, just knowing they would make it, not accidentally crash and might need those suits to survive or
No,
any of that. They
just
just chunked them onto
explain
the
that.
moon's
Well,
surface.
just explain that.
Doesn't
Well,
that blow
Yeah,
we
that in
actually
itself is
have. If you can
unbelievable.
pause it, Josh. We actually have official
Uncle
NASA.
Buzz himself says it. He'll tell you.
Yeah,
Uncle
well,
Buzz will tell
it
you.
was
We
him who
threw the
said it,
suits
wasn't
out
it?
the frickin' door.
He
Yep.
got in the door. He took his suit off, or the backpack or whatever. The door's still wide open, so he chucks his suit out, and
Hold
NASA
your
actually
breath.
says, "There we go. We hear it landing." They show us that
Heard it. Right.
we heard it
Can you see a
land.
little something
John,
falling?
if you do it quickly, John,
John.
it's okay.
How can you hear it
You hold
land
your-
in a vacuum? I thought there was no noise in a
It's
vacuum.
like
just
the
they could hear
3-second
hammer.
rule on the floor, isn't it? If you drop your sandwich, if you
Right.
pick it up within 3 seconds, it's cool. If you leave a door open in the vacuum of space on the atmosphereless moon for 3 seconds or so,
Can you
enough
pause it?
time to just bung your backpack out onto
It
the
takes
lunar
a while before the
surface.
vacuum realizes you have opened the door.
Right. He
before it
doesn't know.
starts.
It's like it's not paying attention, right, Rob?
And we're not even making
It's
this
not. I mean,
up.
let's not forget the fact that the one actual vacuum test that NASA filmed with an astronaut, and they set him. They put him in a vacuum room,
His tongue
and his
started to
spit
bubble.
started bubbling on his tongue as it boiled, and he fell over backwards instantly. Never mind that. That's incidental.
that
It
was
has
cool.
nothing to
Never
do.
heard of that. How come
Robin.
I've never heard of that until yesterday or the day before? Well, how come I've never heard of this one? That's
Well,
pretty
see, I was a NASA fanboy. I knew all these things growing up, that all these tests were failed and they never did it again, and they just somehow worked it all out, and we went to the
Even the guy
moon.
that was interviewed said that from the moment they started working in pools.
Right, that's why they have to do pools.
Yeah, we were talking about that last night, Rob. You would think, I mean, in America and all around the world, but especially in America, that they would want to use the best of the best. So what would you need? You'd need a bloody vacuum
The best
chamber.
of the best of the best.
Yeah,
Sir.
you need a vacuum chamber, not some
But I mean,
swimming
if
pool.
you don't have a vacuum chamber, unlike the one that Brian Cox was bumbling around inside, if you don't have a vacuum chamber, then the obvious substitute is a massive swimming pool, because that's completely mimicking a vacuum, isn't it? I mean,
Exactly.
it just
The
couldn't
pressure
be more
equal-
opposite.
Right, they're opposites completely.
Ridiculous.
Sorry, I'm
Anyway.
getting worked up. I'll shut up for a while now.
Yeah, you can play the video. Can we back it up a
Justin?
bit?
Yeah, sorry, Justin, we tend to get a little carried away with NASA. We'll let you
Yes, sir. Please jump in anytime you like, sir.
say a little more on your presentation.
Oh, no worries. I can't really see what you guys are seeing, so just let me know if you have questions about it.
We're doing this so ad hoc. I'm watching it on YouTube, so we're talking about stuff people are looking at behind like 20 minutes. They think we're insane. Yeah, this is
No,
probably a big.
we just need to share it on the Hangout, not just on YouTube, but actually share it.
James, share our YouTube screen onto the.
Will
thing.
do,
That
will
won't
do.
work either.
I will do that.
Oh, that's all right. I could do that.
Just afraid to crash Josh's system again if he tries to do too many
no,
things
that's
at once.
cool. Any of us can share what we're looking at. I'm doing it live.
What I
I think.
noticed was the lunar module taken off from the moon and the camera panning back. I don't think I'd be able to help myself with saying to the person beside me, "Oh, I wonder who shot that." Hey? I wouldn't even asking, Justin, did you have someone with you the whole time, like a tour guide that you could ask questions of, or you were sort of wandering around on your own?
No, for 90% of the time I was wandering around on my own. When I first walked in, I caught the very end of that tour where you see that gentleman talking, and I asked the 2 questions, and then I kind of asked when the next tour would be, and it was going to be much later in the day, so I just wandered around. But it's funny you mentioned talking to people in there. The first thing I did when I got there was I walked up to a couple that was looking at the lunar module there, and I just asked him. I was like, "So you really think we went in that thing?" And he was just like, he just kind of like, he was like, I was just kind of thinking the same thing myself. And I was like, I mean, look at it. It looks like it's made out of aluminum foil and like curtain rods or something. And he was like, they just kind of laughed. And then I just kind of emphasized the fact that they want us to believe that, we went there in that thing in the 60s. I was like, I don't think we went anywhere in that thing. And then just kind of left them with it. But you just got to imagine some people have to walk up and look at it and go, really? That's what they went in?
Most people would get overwhelmed when they were looking at that sort of stuff because there's just so much history.
That's true
in
too.
all the stuff that in there, and they would get overwhelmed and they would get caught up in the moment. And they would be, whereas if you really have a good think about it, and it's hard to believe that we would go up in those pathetic contraptions that they say they went up in.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you guys see that video now in the Hangout?
Beautifully, sir. Thank you.
I think
You're not going to crash. Well, James has got it up there. You're not going to crash, are you? James has also got it.
No, I've got it.
No,
up.
I'm sharing
James
it
has
as
it
well.
up too.
And I make no promises.
None of us do.
We don't want you crashing the whole thing, but
So I'll
sharing.
pause it to where we were kind of just got off track, and we'll just go from there, I guess.
Yeah.
Ah, the sun cameras.
A piece of junk.
That was one of my first, wait, what's going on? As I began to explore the sun and the sky and what was going on when I saw lunar waves, trying to figure it out. Somebody had a video of that, one of those cameras, and he was laughing and going, okay, now watch this. And so they're on that camera of the sun, and there's this little spaceship thing that comes orbiting around the sun. He's like, yeah, I know, I see the ship too, but that's not it. Wait, watch this. And suddenly that whole sun does like a 360-degree spin and goes back into position like a glitch would happen in your file if you did some kind of bad animation. And he said, right, you saw that. And he rewound it and did it again. He's like, right, but this is NASA and this is live. And I'm like, what the heck? If the sun flipped completely upside down and flipped back around, we would all be wiped out in an instant, I'm pretty sure.
I've heard the excuse
So that's when I
for
started
this,
going, what's going on in space?
I've heard the excuse that they flipped the camera 360 in order to clean the lens. There you go. Job done.
Yes. But that little special UFO they had included didn't move its orientation. It stayed in the same position relative to the sun. So they messed up with their Project Blue Beam.
That was a scratch
critters.
on the lens. Yeah, there you go. Job done.
Right. A hair got caught in the projector.
That's right. Yep. Yep. You got it. So where are we on this
All right,
video?
go ahead,
I was
Josh.
looking at some really good HD video a minute ago. Sorry, yeah, Josh, carry on.
How come no one ever sees these images with their Nikon P900?
Exactly.
Where is all these fireballs?
There's a guy who has a channel, Take Back Space TV, CD, and he does some excellent sunspot tracking on his channel, or he did year ago when I was into that with him looking at it, and he definitely showed that whole thing that you're looking at these spots, you see these are the spots, they match, does this look anything like those cameras you see on NASA's site? Same thing. Nothing that NASA shows us or what it do.
Does
A
anyone
real telescope
still...
or binoculars
Sorry, what?
or P900. No, I'm just saying, go ahead. It's just ludicrous.
I was just wondering if anyone still, listened to and followed Suspicious Observer. I used to follow it religiously, daily. Does anyone know who I'm on about?
Nope, I've never.
I actually missed. I don't.
Oh. Suspicious Observer got a channel on YouTube that it just monitors stereo 1 and 2 and makes predictions on earthquakes and
Pause it on the Hubble scope there, Josh. I'm sorry, John.
No, you carry on. I've finished. If no one's heard of him, then no point carrying on. That's good. No one's heard of him. Thank God.
We'll check him out for sure. But the Hubble's another thing that people always, throw at us. It doesn't add up. I mean, all the components the Hubble is made of cannot survive at that temperature where they say it's orbiting. We all have looked at the thermo layers. We know the temperature's up there. We know all their excuses, of course. But I was watching a documentary just a few days ago about the Hubble. And again, it's kind of like the whole ISS. Here's all this in the laboratory stuff. Here's all this animation stuff. But here's a lack of footage. Show us actually putting it there in any kind of real way, maintaining it in any kind of real way.
Well,
just magically takes all these pictures.
If anyone knows anything about batteries, how many times, if you had a solar powered, if you had a solar screen charging a battery in the day or whatever, how long would that just carry on forever, or would the battery itself actually sulfurize or whatever it's called and die, even though the solar panels are working perfectly? Does anyone know anything about batteries? Adam, you've been particularly quiet tonight. You're the pharmacist.
I think he might have left the room.
Yeah. Anyone else know about how long a battery would last? Because as
Battery
far as I'm
sucks.
concerned, batteries have a lifetime. They have a
Yes, they do.
certain lifetime that nothing can basically revive them. And we're meant to believe the rover's been up there 12 years or something. The Hubble. I mean, what
Right.
batteries is Hubble using?
Well, that's that million-mile internet that they save just for space. They only use it for space, to take space pictures and to control RC cars on Mars.
Is that Nixon on the phone? He had good phone connection too.
Oh,
to
that's
get good
right. He
vibe
had
on the
that
astronaut.
million-mile internet in the 70s. He sure
That was
did.
the cellular.
Oh, that was only
Cellular.
1,000-mile internet. I'm sorry, not million-mile.
What's the name of the contraption they've sent? It's just gone out past our solar system now. What's that one called? Launched in
Galileo. I mean,
The
Voyager.
Cassini. The Cassini.
Which one?
Swindle.
It
Which
was
one?
Explorer or
It was
something,
launched
wasn't
in
it?
1978. It's
Voyager?
taken some-
Voyager.
Voyager.
Voyager, that's the one.
Yeah,
Late 70s. So for 40 years.
I got you,
40
Walt.
years. this
I
has been
wondered if there
taking
were any
photos.
trekkers here.
Yeah.
Yeah, for 40 years, this thing's been taking photos without a problem. It's just.
That's what I mean. What batteries is it running off? I mean, what
Josh, what
do
time
they
are you
claim?
on, sir?
Oh, we got it on screen now.
Got it.
Well, I apologize. I was wrong.
It happens.
Can anyone read what we're seeing on the screen for those that download MP3s rather than video or whatever?
The newest instrument, the ACS, doubles Hubble's field of view, but well, it moved. I was trying.
You're still watching on YouTube, aren't you, Walt?
Man, I've got so many screens, sir.
And if you do happen to download this as an MP3 and are curious as to what this says, just go back to the IronRealmMedia YouTube channel and watch the damn video.
Yes, sir, and pause it. Pause it. We're trying though here. It's top secret, whatever it is, on YouTube. On my phone, it is Corona.
Zenit, the Soviet Corona.
Do you think that one at least has a little bit of substance about it, at least?
At least a little bit.
It looks a little bit like Picard, sort of.
Uh-huh. That's what I was thinking. So they say it's a spy satellite. But they claimed the satellites were for scientific exploration and give them the generic name Cosmos.
Hey guys, I gotta go.
All right, bye.
Keep listening in, but okay, see you. Bye.
See you later.
See you later, Justin. See you, Ron.
Well, damn.
Hey, Rob.
See you later, Rob.
Love you,
Take
brother.
it easy.
Hate that you have to head out so early.
Yep. Oh, bye.
All right,
easy,
man.
Rob.
Take care.
Moon dust is still visible on the lunar suit.
It looked like they just tripped through the dirt and then threw them in that glass case.
Right.
Yeah.
Somehow the lunar dust accumulates more every year as we don't touch it.
How? There's no atmosphere. So
Oh, my
how is
goodness.
that?
It looks like a coffee stain to me. Little mud, little coffee.
Surely if the moon's
there
got
you
no atmosphere,
Well, that's
then
classic Hollywood. Each things like a jacket or something to make it look like the rugged guy's been wearing it since his early days in Nam or whatever. That's how they do it with coffee and tea and stuff like that. Drag it through the dirt. Classic Hollywood stuff.
Isn't that the guy? What's that guy from the movie with Clover, where you think he has a blown off hand, but he doesn't? That army movie.
So, James, because the lunar explorers had to walk over uneven terrain, collect rock and soil samples, and set up the equipment, their suit was sturdy but gave them adequate mobility.
I found a video recently that says that they got filthy and they're just, really having fun out there in the mud on the moon there in those super pressured suits.
one word,
What was
bubble
it
wrap.
That's you can find that video on my channel actually, and the name of the video is NASA and the Dangers of Spacewalking. I mean, we're talking Russian roulette here. They literally will die if they get one nick in the suit. But let's
Micrometeors fly through space at all times, according to the heliocentric model we're giving, orbits and particles of planets that have formed over the millennia and eons of little pieces attracting other little pieces, and so micrometeors are a serious danger.
And
yet no one's ever been hit by one, and no damage has ever occurred, and no satellites crash. Okay, I'll stop.
Well, what we should be seeing urine stains and fecal stains, to be honest, because if anybody actually knew that their life was on the line, they're not going to run around like a free monkey spinning and jumping and diving. They're shitting their pants, holding on for dear life, going, I don't know how fast I want to go because I don't want this suit to break. Yeah? Make a little more sense.
Every step I would plan to make.
Right, thank you. I'll agree with that, James, 100%.
I'm so sorry I had to be so obtuse and uncouth with my language, but it's really irritating to think
Oh
that.
no! Instead of the fear of death that should be in their eyes at every moment, we get monkey suit videos and.
Don't even get me started on the ISS. Like,
Okay,
it's
yeah.
such a small
I'll
thing,
stop. Sorry,
but yet
sorry.
we do ape suits and magic shows and tricks and guitars, and we smoke weed up there, and we do all these great things on the ISS, but it's literally a penny will blow the whole thing to smithereens. So I'm just annoyed. Sorry, I'll shut up now. That's my cue.
I've got a question. Why would there be any mud on your stuff? Why would it stick? Because the moon's got no moisture, so the sand would be.
Did you watch James's video? They're rolling around in that dirt. They're grinding it in there. They're bouncing. They're up and down.
Is it like a Daz commercial test where they really did try and get that dirt in there just to make sure it was a fair test?
Well, I'm sure Tide was one of the sponsors, like Tang. I'm sure Tide was. I'm being silly. I'm sorry.
OxyClean. But wait, there's more. Red wine, coffee.
But that's a fair question, Adam. I mean, how do they say
For
that
out of
this
this
is
world
going to get
cleaning,
covered in moon dust, layer by layer, over the years, when there is no atmosphere on the moon? So how does that happen?
No, but it's really impossible. Imagine, like, they're trying to tell you that sand is leaving marks on a suit. Imagine a snowsuit. I'm in Canada. We wear them all the time. And you're on a beach. Are you going to get stains from rolling around in the sand on a beach? Absolutely not. No bloody way. Not a fleck of nothing. Nothing. You would get nothing unless you literally jumped in a wet sand pile that was covered in manure or like literally. Yeah. Adam, you're a bloody genius, brother. I love you. So simple.
There is one explanation, and that's that the suits were getting wet from the inside because they didn't hold the vacuum, and it was leaching all the moisture out of their tongs and stuff. But that would be the only place you would get any moisture is from the inside outwards, isn't it? To stick. That was flippant. But.
In a vacuum,
well, don't forget about that Italian astronaut that almost drowned in his spacesuit.
Can you guys hear me or not?
Yes, John, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. I just can't see any.
I don't know if everyone else can, but I can.
Oh, right.
No one else seems to be answering in the affirmative. Are you guys hearing John?
John? Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, carry on then.
I've got too many mute buttons going on here.
Well, we are approaching the top of the hour. If everyone would like to take a little quick break, and then we can finish up with the video and hear what else might have happened on Justin's little tour there, and then we can get Karen back in the mix. Find those questions. I'm still digging around on my files. I did find them, but I've closed that now because I forgot why I had it open.
Too many things. Living legend, my brother.
Hey, man, I'm multitasking, brother. You just don't know. If you could see everything going on in this room, woo.
Oh, Adam, man.
I went from going on a tablet with you guys to, well, you know the setup I'm working with now.
You've come a long way.
So what we playing the rest later after a break then?
Yeah, let's take a little break. It's top of the hour. It's kind of a nice thing to do. It gives everybody a second at home to take their break again. I certainly hope we do. Even though it shows that we're offline, I do see online that we are offline. So that's probably why we need to take a break anyway. Yes, we are offline. It says offline. I don't know. All right. Well, I'm going to mute while you work on that, sir, and take care of my little necessities. I shall return. One moment.
So, Adam, should we talk shit?
Well, there's nothing wrong with a bit of shit, is there, now and again?
I don't think so.
No. Well, if we're going to fill, there was our bit of shit that we got a shout out this week from the
Remind me.
Chippy the Chipmunk.
Oh, Chippy, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Which I thought was nice. A little mention halfway through his video.
I haven't seen it. I know he went quiet for a couple of weeks. So, what was his video basically saying?
He was basically using the law of cosines, which is what we kind of stumbled across. And I know you'd had a chat with him and that, and I'd sent him a few bits of ways we was doing it, and he's took it on board and explored things a little bit more, and is, you know, stating it, I think quite rightly, that it's a really useful tool if you want to measure distances between places in a straight line on a Gleason's.
Yeah, we'll pick that up again later on. There's the music. We just want to.
There she goes, fading.
Fading out.
Are you the one with the music? Did you guys get right?
Working on it. Talk to her dad.
Was she young?
She was 13 when she wrote this song.
Oh, really?
She's like 16 now, 15, 16 now.
She has a mature voice.
Uh-huh.
But something's pulling us high.
Sorry, we're not even broadcasting. I'll stop it. Go live. Try it again. I don't know why the hell it stopped.
You said you got permission from her dad?
We've emailed him. He's going to talk to her and get her in touch. Hopefully we'll get her on the show.
Was she famous? How'd you guys hear her song?
Walt has a program that makes videos, and they include music, and he bought the business license for it, so he owns the rights sort of to the music, so he could like make a video and sell it to somebody, and they can use the music in the video that he sold them, because he has a business license for the software. So that's where the song was on this program. She was part of like a reality show that never got aired. This program just happened to pick up this one song of hers. It's on SoundCloud.
We're up pretty high, our heads are almost in the clouds, and their feet are chained to the ground with their chains of misery. They've got a hold of me, they won't let go of me. Let go of me. They might have gravity on their side, but something's pulling us high. Got the potential to fly. Don't let them be what holds you back from this one incredible chance. They're lucky to have had a glance at you while you defy gravity. They can be cruel and mean, and a smile can be the sign they're missing out on their rainy day. They might have gravity on their side, but something's pulling us high. Got the potential to fly. Don't let them be what holds you back from this one incredible chance. They're lucky to have had a glance at you while you defy gravity. You defy gravity. say we aren't strong enough. We don't have what it takes. I say, yeah, they're wrong enough. And we'll show them someday. They might have gravity on their side, but something's pulling us high. Got the potential to fly. Oh yeah, don't let them be what holds you back from this one incredible chance. They're lucky to have had a glance at you. Oh, you defy gravity. You defy gravity. You defy gravity. Yeah, yeah. At you, oh, you defy gravity.
That was beautiful to come back to.
Yeah, I got it working. Turns out that my volume was turned down on that video. That's why I couldn't play the sound.
There you go. That always helps.
Yeah, if I didn't have like 17 different volume controls.
Well, I hope our regular viewers who like that song got to hear it again, because it has become a nice little tune to hear. I've actually been in contact with the management team for the artist. I'm working on it. That's all I can say. I'm working on it. We're that much closer. I've had actual contact. So it's coming. It could be a big surprise. It could be a little tiny one. We never know. But it's working. Things are coming. So we're back.
That is one hell of a song.
That's powerful stuff. And quite fitting for our little community and our little obsession with gravity and how they tend to use it against us. Quite fitting lyrics, I think. All around.
It's a fantastic song. She's got a great voice, and I have to make sure I'm on mute every time that you're playing it, otherwise you'd hear me singing along. So.
That's what I do too. That's why I made sure I stay muted. Well, I hope to have her on the show in the future. I don't know how long that'll all take, but it's all being processed through here. So, but I'm staying on it for sure. Contact has been established. So we have a little bit left of Justin's video, I believe, to show. We've gotten back online. I see we're getting all of our people back together here in the chat, guys. Sorry, appreciate you hanging out with us and working through the bugs. It looks like everybody's still here. Looks like we may have lost. Nope, Karen's still here too. All right, well, we appreciate you sticking around too, Karen. Sorry, I've got a lot of screens going myself.
Hi, I'm still here.
Yes, we appreciate
But
it.
I'm muting because I'm making a cup of tea.
Yeah, we're all multitasking, trying to get back going here at the next hour.
I'll mute.
Hour 3 here on the Iron Realm Fringe Cast. So I noticed in those photographs you sent, Justin, for me to use for some of the promotional stuff, there was that one picture of the rainbow. What was that in connection to? Just a general mural on the wall, or was that specific to something?
Yeah, I thought that was kind of random to be in there, but it was just a mural on the wall they had. It was of a rainbow and like the sun shining down through the clouds, you know, giving the casual crepuscular rays. And it was showing, you know, like it was like a rainstorm and just a massive mural across the wall, but it definitely was emphasizing on the rainbow and the sun rays, which was
nice. Well, the angle you took there, the shot you took, the angle actually was almost a perfect match for our little Iron Realm arch logo that we use there. So nice coincidence.
Yeah.
I'll see if we can incorporate that somehow and make a new logo to use for some other stuff. That's awesome. Well, so there in Florida, I mean, you plan on going back, I know you said, to the to NASA there and doing some guerrilla attacks, if you will. at the gate as people are coming and going?
Yeah,
Is that still something? I know you're a busy guy. You got a lot going on with the We Are Change and organization. What's going on? What's coming up?
It's definitely on my mind. I want to go do it. I'd like to either do some, street men on the street interviews, whether it just be outside some event, or actually go back out front of the Kennedy Space Center. So, whichever one, just kind of, it comes my way or seems like a good idea at the time, I'll definitely do it. I'm kind of tied up until May, till about middle end of May, just because of this event coming up. Trying to get planning for that, but other than that, it's just keeping a pulse on what's current. I'll definitely be covering the Sandy Hook case, and there's always a chance to try to make the Flouride push again, and stuff like that. I'd love to get a lead on the pulse shooting, but it's different things like that whatever comes up. Right now Flat Earth is pretty big. I'd love to keep focusing on that, and NASA too.
Leave no mannequin behind, I say though.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right.
Well, you definitely have all the fronts covered, my friend. It's quite inspiring.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It kind of keeps me going, knowing that people are actually, do care about it. It falls on deaf ears.
Well, anything we here can do, I mean, you're always, as you know, welcome here, and anything we can do with our different tentacles we have, Twitter and online and YouTube here, let us know. And I mean, what you guys do through We Are Change is just great stuff. I mean, a lot of people, are reading these things online, watching these videos online, watching the shows online. It's one thing to consume the information. It's another thing to then assimilate the information and get active, get out there, make things happen, get the change, be the change, and seeing you guys, like I said, you do it. Karen's also out there making some things happen, getting in people's faces. A real inspiration, and it helps. It feels good that we can help you guys get out the message you are trying to get out.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate that, and it really does. It just goes to show that I hope that if there's any takeaway that anybody can do what I'm doing. I don't have some special, privilege or some special powers. If you just take advantage of your circumstances. If you live in, like Luke Rudowski, who's with We Are Change, who started it, is in New York, he has the opportunity to see tons of these scummy politicians and World Bank and Federal Reserve people that come to New York and go to UN meetings, and he can wait outside their hotel and things like that. So, when I was in DC, I tried to keep my eyes and ears open for anything. And as a matter of fact, there was a Bayer pharmaceutical company that's purchased Monsanto or is merging with them. They were having a convention right on the same floor as my hotel. And I was like, oh my gosh, here's a perfect opportunity, get your camera, see if there's somebody you can confront, see if there's something that you can catch, and the museum was 10 minutes down the road as well. So, if you take advantage of what's going on in your town and in your city, then if we all do kind of do what we can, then, you can at least contribute a little something.
Yeah.
Well, even those of us who aren't in a hub, if you will, not quite the metropolitan areas, I mean, just your local area, you can get involved. Like with the fluoride that you in, trying to get the local areas to understand what fluoride does to us, that it's a drug that we're being dosed without any kind of regulation, without any kind of permission, without anybody overlooking it, no oversight. You could approach that with just your local government and start at least some talk, get people thinking you're crazy, of course, in your local community. But if it's important enough to you and your family and the future of what we're trying to do, then definitely, I mean, anyone can do it. Everybody can get out there and get something done.
Yeah, and it's just as simple as starting a conversation. You even if you can't make it to one of those city council meetings because you've got a day job, and if you don't have a camera or any sort, you can still just talk to people. You can do a man on the street interviews with your phone, and just engage with people, and maybe start a blog, maybe you start a YouTube channel, maybe you just post it on Facebook Live. Something that maybe you can do if you're feeling that uneasy feeling of I want to do more, because it's kind of what I had when I got into all this.
A lot in this community as they find these things, and it just starts making you feel like, I can't just be part of the problem by being complacent, because complacency is just as bad as being part of the problem, being the problem, I guess, because you're letting it happen. So definitely, with these phones you have, or a lot of the newer phones, there's like in your camera settings, a go live to YouTube right there. I mean, like you said, you can do it right there on the street. I started with a little funky tablet, little funky camera, and started doing videos out on the beach to look at the sun. I mean, you can do these things. It's easy to do.
This
Just hopefully you got to
segue is
find the hook
quite
that gets you
nice.
going.
Sorry.
Sorry, John, what?
I was just saying, thinking this segues quite nicely with what Karen's doing. Someone, exactly what you're describing. Someone who wants to get out and do more than sit behind the screen, which is pretty much what I'm, maximum I'm capable of. Then, yeah, Karen, you still with us? If not,
she's making a cup of tea, John.
I think she was making 4 o'clock tea. No, I don't know what time it is.
I don't know.
There.
I'm just moving it along. Moving along.
Yeah. Let's keep rolling. Let's finish up Justin's.
We've been going 2.5 hours, I think.
Do you know what Adams said? Actually, I think it was Adams suggested that literally ask straight questions. Have you seen the curve? And try and get a percentage of how many say yes and how many say no. So there's another option for the airport. Maybe go in hard, give them an option. Do you want the light option where you get to choose, or do you want one where you're asked hard questions?
Well, I think one of the important things is to not get confrontational, not get yourself involved in a lengthy sort of debate. It's the questions that you wrote are just simple yes/no questions. Look out the window, tell me what you see, look at your glass, is it dipping as you're meant to be flying around a curve? Can you see the horizon out of the left and the right window? Can you explain this? These are all very simple questions that don't need you to even mention flat Earth. There's nothing on the leaflet that mentions flat Earth, is there?
No.
And there's
I think the point of that question wasn't confrontation. It was a preconception question to ask people before they go on, have you ever seen the curve of the Earth when you've been up there prior? So
no, I didn't think that was a confrontational question. I thought that was a perfect question. I think if they turn around to you and say, I don't know, I saw the curve when I came back from India last year, and you can just go, great, that's great. Post it to I Spy in the Sky. You don't have to.
It wasn't.
Carry on, Karen.
Sorry, I was just going to say it wasn't an invitation for me to answer anybody's questions. Somebody put "blow my mind." Go on, Karen, blow my mind. Why? What was it? Why Australia can't see Polaris? I don't live in Australia, so I can't answer that. So, but I'm not here for that reason. It's just use your brain.
Well, they're called diversion tactics, aren't they? You're quite versed on psychology and things like that, aren't you? You can see what they're doing.
Yeah, and I won't answer them. It's not my place. I'm not here. Who am I? I'm just a worldwide random.
Just for anyone who doesn't know, what's your handle on Twitter?
KN22.
Right, that's KAYENNE.
Yeah, 22.
Because I cocked it up last week. I said it was Karen 22. I didn't know. I've only been looking at it for the last 3 years or whatever. Shows how good I am, eh?
I haunt you, John. Of course you do.
You don't haunt me at all. No, it's all very welcome. I think we bounce off each other a lot of the time. It's all good. But I think the leaflet thing's a great idea. Anyone out there that has a printer available can print it out, hand it out. It doesn't say anything about flat Earth. It doesn't make any real assumptions. It just asks simple questions. We were going to have it read out, but I don't think that's possible somehow, unless you can, Karen. I don't know.
I've got it here. I'm pulling it back up. One moment.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
multitasking. But you guys carry on again while I'm trying to find my folder and sign in.
I've actually got it. It should be on
Thank
screen
you,
now.
Josh.
Although we were offline there for a little bit again. I had
Well,
to.
that's what I was actually looking at too, and that's why I got sidetracked on looking back to find
Shit's driving me
our
nuts.
show. We're going to get this straight one day.
Well,
I
Karen,
promise.
give us a couple
Yeah,
of
kinda run it down for us
examples
while we
of
pull
what
it
the
up.
questions are that you're asking, just to for those who
Am
are
I able to
listening
put it
rather
on
than
my?
watching.
Am I actually able to put it on my? Am I able to share it?
Are you on a computer?
Yes, I am.
It's if you pull up the actual screen there to the top right, there should be a little a gear symbol, I believe. You guys are more fluent in this than I am on the computer. I'm usually on the phone too.
Oh no, I'm on an iPad. Sorry, is that the same?
Oh yeah, on the phone, I'm not sure what is able to be done, especially on iPhone. I'm an Android user, so I'm sorry I can't help you.
So, Josh, you said you have the questions? Where?
I do. They are up on screen.
Excellent. See, that's what, yeah.
I
knew
it
that.
is.
That's what I was trying
got
to
it
say to
too.
Walter nicely. But
So I've got a bit of a
Yes.
sympathy for people who actually download these sort of shows as MP3s and go walking their dogs and listening to them rather than
Yes.
watching them. So I don't know. I'm going to try and read them out if I can.
Oh, okay. You can go ahead. You can.
Well, no, please, someone read them because I'm appalling at reading, as I've done it before
Yeah, I
on
probably
the
will borrow it
program.
too.
You know what I'm like, so I'm begging
All
for
right, I'll give
someone
it a
to
shot.
read
Why
the
not?
bloody questions.
I spy 40,000 feet in the sky. Please, could you help us on Twitter and yourself by taking some great photos of our horizon with your phone or non-fisheye lens camera? Take a look around yourself and ask these 5 questions and help us make new observations. Please involve and ask the flight staff questions when they're not busy. We would also really appreciate their responses to your questions. Even the flight staff may have never considered these questions before, so please be patient and understanding. And the first little topic here is observations and photos. When you reach maximum altitude, where's the horizon? And then you want to put your photos with the hashtag I spy in the sky on Twitter. And then the questions are, does it drop away from you as you leave the Earth's surface? Does it remain on eye level from your position out of both sides of the plane? Is there a visible curve, or could this be distortion caused by the window's curved design around the fuselage? When ordering a drink, how does the liquid behave in the glass? Does the liquid remain reasonably level depending on the plane's maneuvers? Does the liquid tilt forwards towards the front of the glass as it should if the plane was following a constant downward curve? Does the pilot, when taking off, flying, and landing the plane, take into account the Coriolis effect we've been taught? If so, how? The Earth, we have all been told since preschool, spins west to east at 10,040 miles per hour at the equator. If you're flying on the east to west or the west to east flights, do the flight time durations change massively? How does the plane have to travel to keep up with the Earth's spin? I'm sorry, how fast does the plane have to travel to keep up with the Earth's spin? Are you and the staff able to move around freely and walk unaided throughout the flight, discounting turbulence? When considering a pilot cruising at 500 miles per hour is wishing to maintain their altitude above a sphere, would have to constantly dip their nose downward and, I've lost the next page.
Downward and descend to 2,777 feet, over half a mile every minute. We would really appreciate if you would spare a few minutes of your time by sending your photos and results to us on Twitter at hashtag I Spy in the Sky. Thank you for taking part. We hope you enjoy the
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
love it.
much
Well
for doing
played, Karen.
that. I think it's a great idea, but yeah, that's brilliant. Oops.
So for the slow
Amazingly
guy,
brilliant.
because you read it all pretty in one big shot, can we go through the questions ourselves and just kind of like, because that
Oh,
maximum
absolutely. We
altitude,
should break this down. Absolutely.
yeah, like what was the first one again? It was about when you reach maximum altitude, where is the horizon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, does it drop away from you as you leave the Earth's surface?
So that's like basically asking, at what point should or can you start to see a visible curve? Good question.
Which you can see from a beach, and this is why I want to see how many can see it and how many say they can't. And it's interesting, people are coming back now saying you can't see it from a plane. I've noticed that a few times appearing. I don't know if you have, John, during the conversations.
Well, we've heard back from a pilot saying you can through the cockpit.
Yeah.
We've heard over the past 2 years or so, we've heard hundreds and hundreds of people saying, duh, have you never taken a flight? You can see it out the window. You heard Science Guy today saying you couldn't see it from any practical height, and then had to concede that you can just about make it out at 35,000 feet. I asked him for his source on this, and he said himself. So there you go. Yeah, it's a confusing issue, and it's something, it'd be nice to get a lot of people's feedback from. So anyone that can hashtag any sort of evidence or information or anything, that'd be great.
Absolutely.
Right, moving on.
And
sorry, Karen.
No, I was going to say something, but it's completely gone.
I know the feeling.
We do that a lot on this show. But it's quite late where you people are there on the other side of the pond. Yes.
You people, eh?
Charming.
Yeah, that did come out very wrong. I don't know how that. Sorry,
we know
mean
what you
anything
meant. We
wrong.
know what you meant.
I just went across the pond.
Past the plane.
We don't offend easily.
I was going to say it.
Not like that.
Carry on,
People
Karen.
do post pictures. Sorry, people post pictures, and you sit back, you can see the curve, but you get a straight edge and you put it against the curve, it's gone.
Yep. Yeah. I've played with wide angle lenses and everything myself. It all depends where you put the horizon in a wide angle lens. I mean, if you put the horizon above the midpoint, then you're going to get a curve. If you put it below the midpoint, then you're going to get concave. I mean,
and right in the middle, it's dead flat. That's
right in the middle is where
lens.
it's most accurate. Yeah, and you don't. We're not all using wide angle lenses. A lot of us, you can use a normal angle lens, which takes away that concavity and convexity as you move the horizon up and down. So yeah, I mean, it to anyone with eyes to see, it's pretty damn obvious when you look out of a plane window, whether it's the cockpit or the fuselage.
And how about from a mobile? How will it be seen from a mobile?
Depends where the horizon is in the photo. If they get the horizon in the very center of the photo, then it would be pretty accurate. But sorry, carry on, Adam.
I was going to say that the quality I've tried with my camera through the windows on flights. It's very difficult to get anything of quality, and I don't think that's the point. If you can get someone to even start to consider it, they're going to start playing with themselves. And quite decent quality yourself, you're going to go online and look at images, and you'll see yourself. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the important point, what Karen's generating, not necessarily a database of proof, but actually lots and lots of people starting to consider it from what is an intelligent little leaflet that just doesn't
Here,
It
Adam.
just asks you to look at things and just consider a few
Well, Mr.
basic all proofs that you just say will just be reasonable about. I think it's really nicely worded.
Yeah, the science guy should be already questioning himself with his own conversation that he had earlier today.
Yeah, and the pilot.
And it, yeah, and I'm hoping that's what it's going to do is make. Oh, sugar! I've just said that, but maybe I need to look.
That's the point. It throws a few nice contradictions at them. You know, you use a couple of things that have to be discounted for their other proof to be, you know, with the Coriolis, you know, and all of that. So I think it's quite a nice thing. And you know, you're going to have intelligent people sitting there bored. And if you get a leaflet,
We weren't allowed to ask these questions as a child.
And that's, I mean, talk about an under-tapped thing, though. How to get, if you had a children's checklist for them to observe on the plane, I know every 6 to 12-year-old to 16-year-old would probably want to do it. Or maybe not up to 16, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, and they would all see the truth.
I really like your second question too, the drink one, because I mean, now when I fly, I may be flying in November or even sooner. I'm gonna order a glass of water, not to drink, just to sit on my tray the whole time, and I'm gonna film it and see what it does when we are going up and when we are descending, and if there's turbulence or if there's, you know, any maneuvers or if we're turning to get to our destination. That's when I'll focus very closely.
If you're maneuvering it, if you're banking, if it's gravity keeping it in place, then it will stay in place, won't it?
if you want to get geeky, just put the spirit level up on your phone and stick it on the tray table.
Yeah.
Take the phone, man.
with you too.
Take an actual spirit level.
Take a real spirit level, right?
Yeah,
You
one
can
of
get a
those
pocket
little
one for your
10, 15
keychain.
inches one, or even, you know, a little button spirit level or anything along
Yeah, you
those
get a little key
lines.
fob size one.
Because
I
your
have
phone,
one.
they're going to come along, they're going to say turn your phone off, they're going to say put your table up and let me take your drink off you and all that. Just get one of those little, you know, $5 levels from not anywhere but Walmart and play with that.
Stick it on the floor.
Wouldn't it depend on the globe where you're flying as to how the drink would position?
Say again?
Gonna tip out the glass, isn't it?
If you're on it, well, that's
Yeah.
Australia, it's gonna tip out the glass.
But we know it won't. So, I mean, if it did, then damn, get footage of that because I want to see it.
The only time you ever need those little, you know, they have the cutouts where you put your drink. They're very small. The only reason those are there is not because of anything that's going to spill the drink. It's because of your own stupidity, because you're going to knock it over on the tray. So they put it in the little dip for you, the little hole, you know?
Yeah, there's turbulence as well.
A little embossed spot on the tray.
Yeah, but the turbulence.
I mean, I've got friends who are air stewards and air stewardesses and stuff, and turbulence, if if it comes along unannounced, it can literally launch you out of your seat, smash your nose against the ceiling, and plonk you back in your seat again. And
what were they flying in?
Just normal commercial airlines, Aer Lingus. Sorry, what?
Goodness. Them, John?
Say again?
I said, let's have the name of them. I'm not flying with them.
Oh, no, this can happen to any airline. This is why they say in advance, put your seatbelt on. There might be turbulence ahead because they've seen it on the radar. They've seen it coming. But in days gone by, and I'm talking 20, 30 years maybe now, these things weren't seen, and you could literally, knock yourself out on the ceiling. If you weren't strapped in, or you're an air stewardess or whatever, and numerous times my aunt broke her nose on the ceiling of an airplane. Yeah, it's quite interesting, but Yeah, I don't think it adds much to your glass tipping over and spilling in your face as you get round to Australia.
I was going to add, if you want to get geeky again, what you'd be looking for isn't a thing where you're constantly tipping down, because that would be bloody obvious at a very minute angle. What you'd be looking for is a little constant readjustment every periodic moments as you correct, because you ain't got to correct very often, only every 10 or 15 miles. And again, I think Dr. Tia would be the expert on that, but you'd only be seeing little tip downs every so often, just for a small amount of time to correct, because you haven't got to deal with all of the drop of 500 miles straight away. You can deal with it smallly over 50-mile periods or 10-20-mile periods.
But I mean, are you saying that from a position, as we're talking geek here, are you saying that from a position of assumption, or are you saying that as from something where you know that you're dropping 2,777 feet every minute?
Right. Okay. So the way to explain it, I would put it is, if you went 500 miles, whatever that drop would be, and tried to correct that after flying 500 miles, you'd have to correct an exponential amount compared to correcting every 5 miles. So every 5 miles, how long is that going to take? A couple of minutes, a minute or so. Do you know what I mean? In that amount of time, you've only got to correct for, say, 40, 50 feet. So the amount of dip down to correct every 5 minutes is really, really tiny. If you correct every 10 minutes, then the little dip's got to be a little bit bigger.
Hold on, because you're saying 500 miles. This is a jetliner which does 500 miles in an hour. We're talking 2,777 feet in a minute, every minute. So over an hour, it would be 2,777 times 60.
I'm proposing that there are ways of detecting that dip, if it's there, can come in a number of different ways, and that would be the bigger time you take per correction, the bigger dip forward you would have to make, is the point I'm making. So if you were correcting every 5 minutes, you'd only have to do a little tiny tilt forward, compared to if you were correcting every 10 minutes or 20 minutes of flying.
I don't know. I'm not fully understanding, because this is saying every minute you've got to descend 2,700 feet. This isn't every This isn't every 500 mile.
Right.
This is every
so that
minute.
was my first point. If it was that easy, all you do is you set it level, and you'll see that the actual aeroplane is flying down at a set very small angle.
Yeah, I've got the belief that
0.1 of a degree.
I'm misunderstanding you, and you're probably misunderstanding me, judging by past conversation. So I will back down and let you carry on there, because I'm pretty sure we're probably splitting hairs on something here.
So can I just, and I'm sorry to keep going back, but before we just get carried away, Justin, do you have anything final to say on NASA, and or do you want to say anything else before we go fringe?
No, the only other thing I wanted to point out from the video that you guys can check out at your leisure was the obvious targeting the kids again, like they did at the Kennedy Space Center. There quite a bit that was targeted them, and had them interact with them, playing globes and doing all kinds of experiments. And there was also models of the universe. They even explained 2 different models of the universe, and talked about how people used to believe, that it was the center, and that the planets and the sun and the moon appeared to move across the sky. And that was everyone's day-to-day experience. So it was interesting to see that in there as well. And then they went on to show the current model. But other than that, it was interesting to see.
It must be hard to see that, eh? To see all these kids, just so hooked on it with these invisible. Just because they're amazed, right? Every kid loves to go to like a place that has exhibits or games and lights, and it's something away from the classroom, or a weekend with mom and dad. Everybody who doesn't want to see something cool, you know? So that's really mean, but that's how it works. If you want to get somebody, get them while they're young.
Yeah, it was tough to watch. I mean, you walk by and you want to like shake some of the parents and be like, "You really can you believe this?" And you're gonna like show them these lies, but you know they're just as amazed as the kids were half the time. So there was probably weren't gonna get much ground on that front. But
I've lost a friend, a 40-year-old man that I used to talk to all the time. I was friends for about 5-6 years over the NASA thing. So it's it runs deep, and it's the cog dis is very real. That's why I'm so grateful that Walt, who, like, I've seen some of his stuff. We've talked behind the scenes for hours. I've seen some of his NASA fan stuff. Like, Walt, you were addicted to, like, on the NASA drip. So it can be possible to break through it. Unfortunately, my friend
I
wasn't.
watched the first moonwalk at 2 years old, and I watched everything from that point on until the second time we lost, quote unquote, astronauts in that second shuttle disaster over Texas, that I was kind of done with NASA, because it was like, at that point, it was like, you know, we've been at this for 40 years almost, and we're still killing people. So I'm, you know, not happy. And I just kind of stopped watching things. And then suddenly, boom, we had a International Space Station miraculously overhead. Like, what? And just kind of watched that early days of, you know, non-science being done. And it was like, okay, what are we doing now? And then I was just bored with it, I guess, if you will.
Well, let me ask you this, Walt, and this is a good question too, I think, for everyone, is imagine what's happening now, because you're not an old fellow by any means, but for you to be so addicted, for you to be so addicted to it and taken by it at that generation. Look at the tools and the marketing and the campaign money and the ability to product tie in and movie. Like, these kids are like, they don't stand a chance, unfortunately. It's up to the parents. It's up to us to censor this kind of thing, you know? Right, Justin?
And that's the important thing, you're right, is to keep them grounded, keep them asking those questions that we all asked. I mean, you know, I remember it going as of like whatever grade, first grade, I guess, saying, well, how can those people down there stay on that ball? You know, it made no sense to me at all at that point. And I wasn't a flat earther. I was just a normal thinking 5-year-old, you know, so keep them asking questions, you know, definitely keep them, I guess I'd say that because I was always that kid in class that would, you know, yeah, I understand this is the answer. So, but why is that the answer? And why are we just supposed to accept that as the answer? And so that was pretty much my academic life, was debating the professors and staying in trouble because of it. Although in college, I did have quite a few leave with a handful of my books and some new ideas in their head after I presented some of my bizarre ideas I had at that time. I was quite also taken with the ufology alien lie, so, which is tied into the whole NASA lie too. I mean, that's what they do. They wrap you up with sci-fi, or
Justin,
they can't get you with the science fact, they get you with the science fiction.
Was there any ufology at the museum?
There you go.
no, there was really nothing. Nothing about UFOs or aliens at the museum.
Just from the men or the people there, I guess, are the only ones that say it then. Huh, I thought, because like Walt says, yeah, they're hand in hand. I mean, that's what the big premise of the whole program is, correct?
Yeah, essentially. I just, they didn't really focus on any of it. So just the, you know, the space stuff and the airplane history.
So Justin, do you get the sort of impression, I mean, after your experience in NASA, do you get the impression that most adults are actually children, grown-up children?
Yeah,
this is exactly what I'm seeing with, you know, family members.
It's like a big playground for adults and kids, because, you know, it's all this technology is so cool, and they just, they're just in awe over it. And, you know, most of it, they don't even understand. They've never even seen it before. But this is the closest they'll ever get, and they're just eating it all up because, you know, how could all those brilliant people be lying to us? But they're not. They're just, they believe what they're doing too.
But I just get the feeling that, you know, we're literally being trained into, you know, we're being trained as children to just play video games and escape from everything. And then same as adults. I mean, the way they keep pushing, you know, you can't smoke till you're 16, you can't smoke till you're 18, you can't smoke till you're 21, you can't smoke till you're 25, you can't get in a club till you're 25, you can't buy alcohol until you're 25, you can't drive now until you're 21, etc., etc. They're just pushing forward this barrier of us actually entering into adulthood. And even when we do, we've got our adult games that are, you know, 18 plus on our PlayStations and Xboxes and everything else. We're just
we got our
perpetual
hockey, our
children.
football.
John, did you say Karen had a bit of psychology training?
I didn't say training. It's just a good understanding of it. Karen may have training. I don't know. You'd have to ask her. She's still online.
Yeah, there, mate.
Okay. No training. No, only myself sat here observing. I've sat back from TV too many years and observed people, and everybody has a blueprint, personally, basically. And they knew that. They knew that, and that's what they jump on when you're a child, is your blueprint. Everybody can be manipulated.
Pigeonholed.
And that's where my focus, and I see that with NASA. I see their manipulation. It is just insulting to the max. And I think you might realize I have a little gripe with them.
Who hasn't? Who shouldn't? Sorry, Adam, did you have a point? Or?
Well, yeah, well, only to allude to the actual point that as it was what James said, you know, we all, I think, struggle with the globe and not being upside down in Australia when we're a child, and we argue with it. And maybe is that at the educational level, the breaking point or the submissive point, right? When you break a horse in, that you start to learn and question a lot less questioningly from that point on. Do you see what I mean? Because you've kind of submitted to their statement of reality as opposed to your common sense, which is why you argue it, because all you have is reality as a child.
Everyone's point must be different, though, Adam, depending on the level of what they've experienced, right? At the point where they'll break or drop. Right?
If a child thinks it's a ridiculous idea, and they just won't say it again, they'll just suppress it. If a child's been told they're silly by thinking that, they won't ever question again. And this is what I don't understand in myself. This is what I've been trying to learn myself. I asked
group shaming
the child all the way through my life. I used to sit and watch and enjoy space programs about dinosaurs, but I always used to sit there going, yeah, but they're only surmising. So it was always there. I always had that little battle, but still went along with it. They do that damage to children somehow.
Hey guys, can I just jump back in here for a sec?
I do.
Yeah, I was listening to you talk about the curve and I don't know how long that was ago, because I jumped on here and you were talking about something else, so I don't know how far I was behind. But you talk about the the plane, how far it would fly before you'd have to curve down. The way I see it, a plane flies 500 miles an hour. Every minute it flies 8 miles. So it would have to nose down 40 feet every minute, which was not what you guys were saying. You guys were saying something like 2,000 feet. Did I miss something, or is that what you were saying? John, I suppose that's directed at you.
Yeah,
John's run
cheers.
away.
Right in the middle of something there, mate. Yeah. That's lifted straight off the device site. 500 miles an hour. You're saying every
8 miles. So once every minute.
Let's do it. 500 miles an
miles.
hour. 500 times 500 times 8 inches divided by 12 equals how many inches per hour? And then divide that by 60, and we'll get it per minute. I haven't got a calculator in front of me. I've got a.
Well, I just did it at 500 miles an hour divided by 60, which comes up at 8. So every minute you're flying 8 mile, which is about 40 feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I heard someone say 2,000 feet. Say 2,000 feet But if you want to take it over 2 minutes, then it'll be more like 150 feet over.
So that was what I was trying to say, Rob. If you were flying for 1 minute, then so you've got the numbers there. If you're flying for 1 minute, you cover 8 miles. So the amount of drop you're going to have to compensate for is
64 inches.
I highly doubt the plane would. They say the plane is moving in the curve with gravity, but don't they? So it's just a slow turn and we don't feel it. That's what they say. They say they never nose down at all. If they nose down every 10 minutes, it'll be more like 3,000, 4,000 feet every 10 minutes. If they're doing it on a 10 minute basis, that'd be 3,000 feet higher after 10 minutes.
Yeah, but if they did it after 5 minutes, they'd be. That's what I'm saying. But the point I was trying to make was, if they did it every minute, they'd be covering 8 miles, which is whatever drops. So they'd only have to nose down a little bit. And then after the next minute, they'd only have to nose down a little bit. And if you keep doing that every minute, you will compensate for the curve. You don't have to have this 3,000 foot drop after 10 minutes. If you just nose down a little bit after a minute, nose down a little bit after a minute, that's sufficient to compensate, but you have to keep doing it. So you would see a repetitive
Right, can you
movement.
see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, so 500 as in 500 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Squared times 8 inches divided by 12 to get the feet. Okay. And then divided by 60 to get it per minute. It's 2,777 feet per minute.
Yeah.
John had worked out for me, which is why I'm staying quiet a minute.
Say again, Kaz. I didn't hear any of that.
That's not right, but is it?
Do the workings out there for me, didn't you? So I'm staying quiet because that bit's your department.
I don't know. I've just done that in front of me. I presume that's where the figure comes from. I don't know if that's right, wrong. I just put it out there.
That's assuming, isn't it, a 2,700 foot drop after flying for 500 miles?
No, that's per minute. We divided it by 60.
So
over an hour it would be times by 60. Over an hour it would be.
But that's
what's
just
that? 166,000 feet, 666 and 66 and a few devils more.
Yeah, there's something's not right there, but is it, John? Because I just you do it.
Well, I don't know. If I was flying for an hour over a ball that was 25,000 miles in circumference, if I was traveling for an hour at 500 miles an hour, I would expect to drop, 150,000 feet or whatever over that time.
But only after an hour. After an
hour. Okay, so we'll divide it by 60 per minute, and I per minute at 500 miles an hour, I would expect to be dropping 2,777 feet.
No.
Yeah, but
I
after
would.
half an hour, it isn't
No.
half that, is it? That's the point. It
No.
takes the hour for that number to get that big.
Yeah, that's
Don't
right.
know.
It'll take. That's an average, John. That's the average.
If you
Because
correct,
after 59 minutes, the drop would be a lot more. No, that's an average. That one.
Well, when you're flying around a ball, everything is an average, surely.
no,
But
it's
only
not.
if you take it in minute
Well, it
increments.
doesn't suddenly swerve down and then bank off and flat and then swerve down. If it's a ball, it's a ball. Then it's an average. I don't know. I don't know. But
It's not a slope. It's not
I-
a slope. What you've worked out there is a slope. That's
Yeah.
2,700 times by 60, which is a slope.
Yeah.
You want a ball.
2,700 times by 60. No, this is
Yeah.
what.
Yeah. So therefore, it's a slope.
No, okay. This is what I did. 500 miles, right?
I know what you did.
Well, how can you say it's a slope then? Because I squared it.
All you're doing is adding the 2,700. So
I
after 2
squared it.
minutes, it's travelled.
No,
So after
look,
2
Rob.
minutes-
500 miles
Yeah.
squared. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Times 8
John,
inches divided by
Adam,
12
back me up, Adam.
equals.
I'm with you, Rob, all the way.
Divided by 60 per minute equals. That's all I'm saying is that is where the figure comes from.
Okay, but that's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, well
that's wrong.
then
That's an average. Yeah, that's an average. That's an average of the 160,000 divided by 60, which is an average. It's not a ball goes around.
He's just framing the fraud for us. So kudos for that, John. Thanks.
I don't know what I'm doing, James. I'm just.
No, I mean,
just pointing
you were
out.
showing how they got to the numbers. That's what I meant. You were,
Well,
you
I'm
were
just
framing
saying.
the fraud.
I mean, the formula is miles squared times 8 inches.
Yeah.
So I'm doing 500 miles.
Divided by 60 because you're turning it into an average of the distance over that 60 minutes.
And
Whereas you've got to cut it. You've got to cut it down to that. You've got to cut it down to the first minute.
Yep, maybe. I don't know.
You can work it out after that, but yeah.
So what are we looking at then?
That's
What
going
do we?
around the wrong way around.
So what is a realistic number then? How do we arrive at that? Do you have a better idea? What is the right idea? How do we?
But the point is after a mile, the pilot, the sensible frequencies after a mile, the pilot just gives a tiny little nudge down that moves him down 8 inches, and then the next mile 8 inches. So just like touched him forward. That's the kind of frequency you could say that it's just to move it 8 inches every mile.
They say the ACU does that for them too, which is the chip that only one manufacturer makes for all airplanes.
And that, I suppose, would be what manufacturers would suggest is the autopilot compensates for the curvature of the Earth, because at that frequency, that's what you've got to do. Is that it's nothing. But
so if you flew,
when I think about
Adam,
it, I think about it for a minute. I think about it over a minute with how far they would have traveled, which is the 8 miles. Now, if you're looking at something that's 8 miles away, it's supposed to be about 40 feet.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I work it out.
So what's an eighth of a minute?
8 by 8, 64. Sorry?
What's an eighth of a minute? Is
Eighth of a minute?
7.5 seconds. So every 7.5 seconds, you've got to minutely just tap it forwards. That's every mile, isn't it? That would keep you in very small mile segments of polygons around the globe, just tapping it. Tiny.
I think any pilot on the planet will tell you that you don't need to tap the joystick every minute to level.
Every 7 seconds.
I would say they don't touch it one bit until they start descending.
John, on your calculator, do me 360 divided by what we're going to go. What's the circumference of the globe? 24,000 miles.
Yeah. But anyways,
if
while
you
you do that, like I was saying, those things are
workings
done by a
last week.
computer chip. The computer chip does those things for the pilots. And I think it was Mark Sargent on his gyroscope video did an outstanding piece on it where he was like, so the pilot, the actual ACU, whatever does these corrections, Adam, that you're right about, broke and it wasn't working. So they had to fly without it. Well, guess what? They didn't go into space. And he went further, and he found out that there's just one company that is funded or associated with NASA that actually produces the boxes that house the software for the chip that actually compensates for it. So I'll just add that to the mix.
I can play you that clip if you want.
Adam, can I just ask with that question here with the calculations, with what you're saying then, so liquid in a glass, regardless of gravity, you'd get a little ripple constantly going on in the drink?
The plane's moving, isn't it? It's tilting its orientation.
Mm.
So it has to tilt down a little bit, doesn't it, to make the plane go down to readjust. So
how would you word that question, or that thought, should I say? Are you saying it's worded wrong?
No, I don't think what I'm suggesting, as we can see, is what you should be muting to people. I think what you're doing is brilliant because it's making just people think. And some people will think like I think and go a little bit geeky and go, oh, get a spirit level out, la 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 la, do this, do you know what I mean? And other people will see it like you, it's water in a glass, surely it will tilt forward. And
yeah.
Everybody has a perception they look at this thing with, and they'll find their hook. They'll get there for sure. Just keep doing the experimentation, keep doing the observations.
I'll get that number.
Well, I guess we're approaching the top of our third hour now. We can take another little quick break, go into the after show for the last hour. Everybody's welcome to stay with us for sure. I actually, while you guys were talking a little earlier about the education system and what it does to us and our thinking processes, it reminded me of something one of my favorite authors said kind of about that. If you don't mind, I'll read it to you guys.
Yeah, I'd love to hear.
We all start out knowing magic. We all are born with whirlwinds, forest fires, and comets inside us. We are born able to sing to birds and read the clouds and see our destiny in a grain of sand. But then we get the magic educated right out of our souls. We get it churched out, spanked out, washed out, and combed out. We get put on the straight and narrow path and told to be responsible, told to act our age, told to grow up, for God's sake. And you know why we're told that? Because the people doing the telling were afraid of our wildness and our youth. And because the magic we knew made them ashamed and sad of what they'd allowed to wither in themselves. A gentleman named Robert R. McCammon. If you've never read his books, he's quite an interesting author. I suggest you check him out.
That's good stuff.
Nice one.
I dropped it in the Hangout if you guys want to copy it.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to take off before this last.
Okay, just.
But,
well, man, we appreciate much sharing this with us and holding back some footage for us for our exclusive here. We appreciate you putting up with all our glitches, getting you in and keeping you in. Hopefully, we'll see you back here soon. You're welcome here every week, man. You could bring us something new every week, I know, with all the things you're out there doing. Give everybody all your contact information, how to find you, how to find the We Are Change people. We'll put all that in our links later, too.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me. You can find me on Facebook, We Are Change Orlando, and our YouTube channel, also We Are Change Orlando. And you can find me on Instagram at jharveywrc. And that's pretty much it. If you want to follow the main We Are Change pages too, they cover a lot of more geopolitical stuff. And yeah, that's where you can find us.
Great stuff, Justin. Thanks a lot for your time. Catch up soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Cheers,
Thank you so much, brother.
Guys, have a good one.
All right, I'll be off for the second time. So
you heading out, Rob?
Sorry for John for coming on here and I thought
keep him straight
and get my point of view across too.
Yeah, no.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Look forward to your working.
All right, guys. See ya.
All right, Rob. Take care, brother.
See you, Rob.
On that, just to fix my OCD, it was 0.015 degree every time.
Brilliant. Karen, I hope you can stick around with us for the next hour.
Yeah, I can stick around.
Uh-oh.
Fucking Google asking me for a phone.
Somebody has their YouTube on for sure.
I was finishing up Justin's video.
Thank you, sir. Nice. Let that play through, and we'll take a little break behind the scenes, or I will. I'll be back momentarily.
Yes, as do I. And because it's Good Friday, I know personally this day means a lot to me. So I have a video I want to share we can close with that is a little bit spiritual, but I think it's fitting being Good Friday.
You gonna share your screen?
I don't know if the audio will work, but I can definitely try to do it that way. Or I could send it to you, whatever is easier.
Definitely send it to me. I think that should be fine.
Sent. And just a disclaimer, I know everybody may not be into this, but I know there are those here and those watching that do believe in this, and they'll get it and appreciate it.
James, I don't think anybody would have to apologise for an Easter message at Easter.
Thank you. No, and you're right.
Hail Easter.
Yeah, certainly not that. I sent it on Twitter, Josh. Sorry to come.
Are you? I was gonna say I don't see it.
Yep. Nope. That's just my way. Sorry. There's going to be some good times with family coming up, and I just want to wish everybody a safe and happy time if you're having holidays as well around this time, and maybe just evaluate what's important in our lives and what's important to you today as people, as friends, as brothers, as humans, and just evaluate where you are if the world would end tomorrow, you know? Yeah.
So it's not often I play YouTube video commercials, but I can't help but play this one. I don't even know what the hell it is yet, but it's too good to not.
It's always been a dream of mine to explore the universe. So what if I could? Imagine I could go anywhere and see anything. Well, in this bad boy, I can. Join me and explore our universe.
Oh my goodness.
To the Big Bang. Saturn. To Santa Barbara. Join me on a fantastical journey to my favorite places. Only on Curiosity Stream.
Start your free trial today at curiositystream.com.
It's been said that all roads lead to God. And this makes a certain amount of sense. In life, there are 1,000 different ways to get where we're going. Winding scenic paths, wide, fast highways. We can walk or ride, drive or fly. Wrong turns and detours may slow us down, but sooner or later we make it. We get where we want to go. Could it not be the same for our souls? We all search for meaning, for fulfillment, for purpose, for God. But we come from different places. We're different people, and we don't all travel the same roads. But surely, if we try our best, if we follow our heart, if we believe in ourselves, we'll make it. Everything will work out. We will find salvation in the end. But there is a flaw in this way of thinking. The path to God is no road at all. It is a person. His name is Jesus, and salvation is found in no one else. For there is no other name under heaven given among men by which we must be saved. No matter the road we choose, at the end of this journey that we call life, there stands a gate, shut fast. It is not opened for good people. It will not budge for those who lived right, or loved well, or did great deeds. It will only open for those who put their faith in the Son of God. Those who, in life, called upon the name of Jesus and believed him when he said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through me."
Iron Realm Media After Hours. The Fringe. Well, we made it through another one, mostly. Sort of. Not without incident, but I guess Flat Earth Friday with Iron Realm Media just wouldn't be Flat Earth Friday with Iron Realm Media without our technical difficulties and personality defects. Forgive me, I have a lot of phlegm in my mouth. I had to scarf down burger and fries and try to play music at the same time. So I probably have mayonnaise and stuff everywhere. I had a Butterburger from Culver's, which was actually pretty good.
As long as you keep your mayonnaise to yourself.
It's not like I'm out posting dick pics all over the internet.
How did you know what I was talking about? How are we doing?
Doing well, I guess. I don't even know if we're still broadcasting. Seems like it's hit or miss. Sometimes we are, sometimes we aren't.
I don't know. I've been sticking about with
hello.
Well,
calculations.
Back to the Fringe.
Nope, it says we're offline. Stream complete. Nope, it says we're on live. Stream returned. Fucking YouTube.
There you go. We all live.
My kettle's boiling again. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
It's so loud. Listen.
Right, so Adam, as no one else is talking, if I go with 500 miles divided by 60, so per minute, then I get your 8.3333, times that by itself, times that by 8 inches, divide that by 12, yes, I get 45 foot per minute, I presume. So
No.
Where's the discrepancy between 45 foot and 2700 foot?
In the first minute, you'll go 8 miles in distance. Yeah, and that gives you an equation that you can work out. In the second, and give you a distance that you can average over that little bit. But the average means nothing. If you go the next distance, double the distance, it'll be more than double the drop. And all you're doing there is calculating at what point you're going to tilt the plane forwards. So if you're saying you fly for 500 miles, then that's the point when the calculation you've considered is going to tilt. And any average you draw back from that over that time is kind of irrelevant because it's not based on the curve. It's based on a straight line average from that point of measurement after 500 miles. If you take a point of measurement at 250 miles, you won't get an average that's half of what you've got. You'll get something that's exponentially less than that, whatever it is, based on the 8 inches per mile squared formula.
Okay, how about we have a plane take off at the North Pole and it flies to the equator? Yeah?
Yeah.
So over that time, over that distance or whatever, it's flown whatever it is, 6,224, 6,250 miles, whatever. Anyway, it's dropped 3,959 miles, i.e. the radius of the alleged ball.
Mm-hmm.
So
a good point is, in the last, relative to the measurement you're making, at 3,994 miles, right, the last mile has so much more drop included in it than the first 500, 600.
It does. on paper,
in
but it
terms of
doesn't in
relative
reality.
proportion. I'm meaning in terms of distance, because basically the last mile is all drop down. There's no
Well,
real distance forwards.
Only if you're using the initial starting point as a reference point, as the reference point. If you're using the last mile away, then no, it's only 8 inches. If you're using the mile before, then it's 32 inches. But if you're using the first reference point, i.e. the North Pole, then yeah, I agree. The last, drop is the steepest drop, and it's literally going downhill. It's literally going
But that's the
vertically down.
same. That's the same for every measurement if you try to average it backwards.
What does that mean?
Relative, because it's on a ball by the proportions of pi. That's its relative growth of pi, isn't it? That's what the ball does. It drops away like that. So relative backwards, it's the same. That's an extremely described, which describes it well, but it's the same thing. If you then try to average anything backwards from a point to include those previous points, you can't, because the last bit is got a much bigger proportion of drop than the bit before it, and the same before, relative to the starting position.
Right, so if we've got this plane that takes off at the North Pole and lands at the equator, and that's that we agree that drops 3,559 miles. Yeah. In
It has
altitude
to
from the
stay relative.
North,
yeah,
from the North Pole. So if we say 3959, you're not seeing my screen, are you? 3959. What are we saying?
If you're saying if after flying 3,959 miles in a straight line, technically it should be that distance above.
Yeah, drop. That should
the
be
Earth
the
as
drop
well, shouldn't it?
to the equator.
So if it did that, yeah.
So if it's going from the North Pole down to the equator, it's not only got to take, it's got to take into account the spin. So how do they take that into account when they're flying? Because they'll be taking off at the top there. How do they do that? How do they calculate the Earth and where it's going to be when they?
Well, I mean, that's just unbelievably difficult. There was someone who did it over the North Pole, wasn't there? There was not someone who did
James
it,
is
but
best for that, isn't he?
no, it was Brian Mullen.
Brian Mullen. Yes, James knows loads about that.
Yeah,
that's that.
I'll drop you a link to that, Karen. Sorry, James, Karen.
No. I mean, it presents quite a problem, but when you dig into it, it was easy. I had Adam along as kind of a coach, which was great because it's easy for someone who's not into maths to get swept up in even what Brian's saying. So what we reducted out of it and is so true is that all of that's fine and dandy, but the simple principle is if you have a helicopter, that already defeats the globe, because your whole purpose of the helicopter is to push against that force, right? So that it does that quite well. So that is independent of the spin. So you should just be able to sit in a balloon even and have Paris come to you. But we don't see that. We never will. We couldn't. So anyways, yeah, that's my 2 cents on it.
So just to recap, this is a bunch of flat earthers trying to figure out the curve of the Earth. Thanks very much.
Absolutely pointless, isn't it? Really. Well, it's funny that we get to that 0.633. What I've just done is 3959 divided by bugger, I can't remember now. 6250, which is the land distance between the North Pole and the equator. If that makes sense.
It's 2 pi, isn't it? That
I don't know, but all I know is that, if we're flying from the North Pole to the equator, regardless of the spin, if we're just on a stationary ball, flying from the top of the ball to the equator of the ball, then we are told that the equator is 3959 miles lower down than the North Pole. And that must be equatable to something every minute in order to get 3959 miles in, what is it, 6,250 miles around the circumference of the ball. That would take us, 12 hours? So in 12 hours flight...
The whole trouble spots, John, for them is the poles. That's what blows it for them on the ball.
Well,
because
only if
this is what you're getting at.
Only if it's spinning. I'm making it even more simple and saying it's not even spinning. It's just a ball stuck in space, and you're flying from the North Pole to the equator, and we're told that that drop is 3,959 miles. And I'm just saying that if you're flying from the North Pole to the equator, then you should be able to calculate what sort of drop you're doing every minute or every hour.
Yeah. Of course, yeah. The adjustments you need to stay on that curve or drop, to stay on the drop.
So it would take 12 hours to get from the North Pole to the equator. Do we agree? Ish?
Well, we have to, yeah. That's their math. It has to work there.
So 12 hours of flight, you've dropped. So hold on, let me go. 3,959 divided by 12 hours of flight means you've dropped 329 miles per hour divided by 60
yeah, there you go.
Per minute.
It doesn't.
Means
No.
No. Well, yeah, okay. Well, just see it through.
You can't do that.
Why? Because it's a ball. It's symmetrical. It's completely uniform.
It makes sense.
Why can't you take an average of something that is completely uniform?
Right. So the best way to explain it is my first maths formula is what you're trying to do, which is
but it should it should be so easy. You're just dividing. It should be a simple equation like John's doing. You've got the amount of drop divided by the speed or whatever, right?
I mean, what this is saying is that over every minute you should be dropping 5.4 miles
to stay on course, right?
To be able, after taking off at the North Pole, to be able to fly for 12 hours at 500 miles an hour, you would need to be dropping at 5.4 miles per minute in order to reach that 3,959 miles of
equator.
Drop, yes, in 12 hours.
Equator.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That the numbers you're using are a back work, and you can come up with different numbers which don't apply. They only apply to the end origin.
Okay. Sorry, I was going to sound stupid, but how can we get different numbers when we're taking the exact amount of curvature drop? I don't get it.
Shouldn't it work forward and backward?
Yeah.
So no, because it's about describing using the math. The maths is fine, what you're calculating, but it doesn't mean anything in reality.
Okay, go on.
It's not representing anything that actually happens in reality, because at no point is your plane flying on the straight line that you're drawing in maths. You've drawn a straight line as an approximation for the curve that's going over it, put mathematically. Now, what you need to do is draw lots
planes
of
really accurate though, Adam? Don't planes like actually fly on quite an accurate little trajectory all the time? Sorry if I'm being naive again.
Let me try and change the way of thinking a little bit. So rather than...
But also using straight line, where it's anything but a straight line from the North Pole to the equator.
No,
It's
but
a quarter of a circle.
You've drawn a straight line to get the average of what you're quoting as a number, is what I'm saying. So you've ignored the curve because you've just.
Well, no, I mean,
Trust me,
a curve can be straightened
route. So
into a straight line. A curve can be, a curved string can be pulled taut to be straightened, and we're using the figures they're giving us. From the North Pole to the equator is 6,200 and whatever miles. The radius is 3959. This is what they're telling us.
The plane flies, right? You're saying it's going to fly for the 3,600 miles, right? And then it's got to descend 3,600
No, I'm
miles.
saying if it flies
mathematically,
continuously,
that's the numbers you're using to derive the average.
Well, mathematically, I'm saying if it flew out on a horizontal trajectory of 3,959 miles, then it would have to fly vertically downwards 3,959 miles in order to reach the equator. That's mathematically, what I'm saying.
That's the average that you're quoting.
But that's what I'm saying. Where does it not become an average?
And finishing point.
Because so it's a ball.
But that average is only relative over that distance. It's not. You will get a different number.
But isn't that all we're looking at? Is between those 2 points?
No,
I'm still lost.
Okay, bear with me just a little bit, and let me try and give you a different image of what we're trying to model mathematically, so you can see. So, if you're flying the plane and you start off and it's flat, at what point are we going to dip the nose down a little bit?
Right away, because every minute you have to.
It's never flat. On a ball, it's never flat.
3,000. If we fly for like 1 mile, okay, what we need to do is dip the nose of the plane 0.015 degree, a little bit, and that'll bring us down, okay. And if we do that after another mile, dip it down again and dip it down again, that'll keep us going around the ball. If we don't do that and we fly for say 10 minutes, what we'll have to do next is dip it by 0.15 degree.
You've just multiplied the number.
Okay.
10 times, right?
This would show
because
up
we're
in
changing
your,
the shapes. We're changing the shapes of the polygons. Okay. So if you think of it then as the plane the aeroplane in plane flight.
Hold on, Adam. Can I just butt in there? Sorry, really rudely. I'm really sorry. Before it gets lost. If that was the case, right? And what you're saying, you fly along and you fly for a minute and you've just got to nose it down a little bit and you're back on target again. If you accidentally forget and you're flying for 10 minutes, then you've got to nose it down and then you're back on target again. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
That being said, all of that would be built into the electronics of the current commercial airline. In which sense that it wouldn't nudge. It would be programmed in that the flaps on the wings keep a constant, say 0.15 degrees, in order to account for the curvature of the Earth. Yeah, but that's never ever what we hear, or can see, or have any evidence of at all. I've got pilots from 777 pilots coming back to me saying, no, that just does not exist. They're flying level and straight. But what you're saying is, this nudge down is, I mean, it's entirely impractical, obviously, for
It's something they're told. It's in their heads. It doesn't really exist. They're just fed that to think
But
that it's
if it
there.
did exist, it would be there and it would be documented saying we nudged down 0.000.1 degree per fucking, you know, hour or whatever. But it's not there. It's never there.
No.
There's nothing
the
about
thing that
that
makes it
thing.
more complicated, John, when you're flying, especially at altitude with wind speeds, is of course the faster you fly. So if you're in a supersonic jet, the angle of inclination you have to maintain with the Earth is even more down because you're coping with more distance per second. So if you were flying at between 500 and 560, and the wind speed's changing that, there isn't a set angle to keep it at. You have to constantly adjust because of your forward momentum changes the rate of pitch as well.
Exactly. And if you speak to pilots these days, they don't do any of that. And they'll say that the computer does it for them. But when they are flying on manual themselves, they don't do it either. But you're absolutely right. And you can see this with fighter jets flying literally 10, 15 feet above the sea.
I got something for you.
You know, doing 700-800 miles an hour or however fast they're going. And yeah, these guys would have to be nosing down continually.
What about the planes, the early planes though? Like today is wonderful. We have GPS, we have all these video screens and beautiful parachutes and all these safety features. What about the people that flew like in the early planes with no electronics? How did they not fly into space?
Actual mechanical gyroscopes, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that were capable of toppling and, you know, this is it. Gyroscopes have been used in this sort of scenario since the early 1900s. I mean, 1913, I think, was the first case of a gyroscope being used in a missile, or not a missile, a torpedo. So, you know, these things were literally spinning disks of mass that would hold their rigidity in space and point at the same thing for as long as, you know, whether
what
the
about
Earth
the planes
was moving or not.
Without it though? Even John, there was planes without gyroscopes that still survived and managed to escape the space pull and not get blown into the.
Long before gyroscope. I mean, you know, people were flying.
So how is it
possible
that they could manage to fly on a spinning globe without any technology, with like wood and like maybe some crap back then?
I would say, you know, these are pilots that are exemplary if they ever manage to do that. But the truth speaks for itself.
Is what you said in the torpedo, mate. That's wicked. The gyro in a torpedo is just better proof than an aeroplane that it keeps straight.
Well, it's a simple understanding of the properties of a gyroscope. I mean, I've banged on about this a million times, but its rigidity in space, once it's powered up and spun, is what is exactly is needed. So it's you know, if you want something to go to from A to B, then you use a gyro compass to get it there. If you want something to go from A to B via the North Pole or magnetic navigation, then you use a magnet. But obviously, most things want things to go from A to B as the crow flies, not round the lines of latitude, which is what I think. And I don't know about this. I don't know whether this is right or wrong, but this is what I think the real use of a gyro compass on a plane is from flying from A to B in the shortest possible distance, i.e. via a gyro compass, as opposed to going the great circular route via a magnetic northern compass. But yeah, I've probably lost a few people.
No, I think that brings it back to what we got a shout out, mate. That's kind of what Chippy's using the maths for is measuring those distances. And
I didn't mean to give you a hard time either. If it sounded like I was giving you a hard time, I just was confused. Hey, Adam, it's confusing sometimes.
no, do you understand that?
I do now what you're saying, because we were right in what we're saying too. But we exactly right. But it's just comparing apples and oranges, right? Yours is way more accurate and different than what our point was. But the principles are the same in the math because it's their numbers, right? So.
Well, yeah, because it's flat, so it doesn't really matter because all the numbers are ridiculous because it stays flat. So,
and it's complete opposite of what we observed, right? What we observe never changes. And has it ever changed in your life? Have you ever seen the Earth start to wobble and feel movement all of a sudden? Have you ever looked at a horizon that wasn't flat? Have you ever felt the sun and it's never changed in my existence, in my history.
Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
The Joker has.
the only thing I would add, guys, just in terms of there is a point where, as John alludes to, within supposed avionics, you can therefore say, "Oh no, modern planes just easily compensate for it." It is manageable, isn't it? With complete, computer control. It's the point wouldn't, to me, be to try and prove that a 747, where the pilot sits and has a cup of tea, flying it, is in any way proof.
What's the need of it all, though? Now, because going back to what I said, Adam, it's all smoke and mirrors to me. Because the guy who doesn't have any electronics in his plane, and he's just flying with the stick, he's not adjusting every 5 minutes. He sets his trim, and his stick's done, flat. He's bored. He has to worry about falling asleep. So, it's such a scam on top of a scam on top of a scam, all these electronics and GPS things and digital things, when you can take a wooden aircraft and some, or maybe not a wooden one, but whatever, a simple aircraft with none of that crap, and the guy doesn't move the stick he's not compensating. So
totally, and that's the point, isn't it? We, as John alludes to, and that's all based on gyroscope technology. So then you're left with the final bullshit argument that the ballers use, that somehow they use that magic word, don't they? That fixes it in a special way that's not really explainable or understandable, but just makes all the pain go away.
Or retestable, or repeatable.
Yeah.
I've got a post on my blog about does gravity affect gyroscope? It's bullshit. It doesn't.
No.
That was the whole point of me using a gyroscope, is that it wasn't affected by gravity. So. You still there, Kaz?
Yes, I'm trying to digest it.
What do you think of all of us talking? We get a little carried away. How have you enjoyed your first time?
Second time?
It's been second, a long time ago. Yeah, no, very interesting. And it is literally trying to release the stuff that's been crammed in your brain, getting rid of that to be able to make way for these new ideas and thoughts.
Yeah.
So what instrument would you use on a globe then, Adam? What, if a gyro, it wouldn't work, John. What would work? What sort of instrument would you need to guide you around the globe?
I have absolutely
say it.
no idea.
Adam would probably know. Adam, what would you say, man?
A gyro would work, wouldn't it? But you'd be
No,
constantly
it wouldn't.
tipping.
It wouldn't work at all. It would be the worst thing possible to use.
You'd break the casing on it, that's for sure. The thing would smash.
It would
like,
topple.
yeah, it would smash right out of its bearings. Would
I mean,
rip right out.
if you were going a difference between 90 degrees around a quarter of the ball, and a gyroscope would be the worst thing possible to use.
You'd be left with the horizon, I suppose, would be the only.
Yeah,
would be
yeah, and the stars.
A crosshair on the horizon would be the only.
And the stars, yeah. Anything that remained rigid in space would be useless. I mean, there would be no point.
Ring laser would. Surely a ring laser would manage that.
Yep. A ring laser would be able to manage it if you told it how fast you were spinning, how big the ball was, how fast it was going, how fast it was traveling. If you programmed all of that into a ring laser, then yes, it would be able to calculate that. However, if you set a ring laser up in the middle of a field wherever you choose to put the ring laser, it's not going to measure any.
It's a really good one, Carl, because it's the complete opposite of what a gyro can do, isn't it? Really, it's the complete. There isn't anything that would.
Plus the fact that even a ring laser on anywhere on the Earth wouldn't show any spin or movement, wobble or movement at all. And I'll bet my bloody farm on that. If I had one.
My head hurts now.
Be enough nowadays.
Say again, Karen?
They wouldn't need the gyro. Computers would be enough nowadays, wouldn't it? They'd program the curve and that'd be it. Off they go.
Well, the latest, or not even the latest, PlayStation, whatever it is, has an application in there that demonstrates the Coriolis effect and shows how the Earth turns. Shows you the Earth turning, in fact. I've had that put forward as many a time as proof of the Earth turning. Look, my PlayStation tells me it is.
Have a gripe about PlayStations.
Emily. Well, anyway, on that note, it's knocking on now. 10 to 2. Yeah.
Bloody hell.
We've yeah, we're gonna have to hand it over to our American chums at the moment. But for me, anyway, I'm gonna knock it on the head and say goodnight.
I think the same for me, guys.
Cheers, Karen. Thanks for coming on. Cheers, Adam.
Thanks for having
Yeah, nice chatting with you, mate. It's nice meeting you tonight, Karen.
You too, Adam.
It was good talking to you again, Karen.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
I will good work.
Drink my cup of tea.
All
But
right,
thanks for the support, and again, John, thanks for helping me with the breaking it down to, I don't know, not about. I was waffling, wasn't I? I was putting quite a lot in there.
No, not at all. You did most of the work on that, and yeah, you should take full credit on that, without a doubt.
Yeah, well, I hope we get some good results, and I hope people do actually respond and.
Well, we're planting a seed, aren't we?
Yeah, I want to see a curve.
Yeah, it would
2
be
years
nice.
I want to see it.
It would be nice, bar not launching our own balloon. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, one day, you never know. I doubt it, but yeah, thanks for having me.
No worries. Take it easy, Adam.
Take it easy, guys. Thanks for a good night. Cheers.
Cheers. I'll catch up with you guys later.
You guys all sleep well.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Josh.
sleep well.
And you.